All right. Let's go ahead and get started. So, the plan is today is we're gonna be playing on a fresh account and kind of seeing how, with no money, no water, no really anything at all, how playing as a new player in the March patch feels. And unfortunately, I can't wipe my knowledge of the game already, so I can't really test for that. But what I can test is for progression, really, and how it kind of feels for a newer player to experience nothingness. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I did have to wait for shaders to load today. It took a while, so I'm curious if there's going to be some FPS hits here and there beginning of missions. Usually when you load into a map, you'll get some stutters here and there as it's still loading the shaders, but maybe they fixed that. Oh no, it's still loading the shaders. It'll get there eventually. So it's gonna be probably a little bit rough every single map we play until we play it like 1 or 2 times through. Probably only 1 time through though. I do think they probably needed like a rework tutorial eventually, but until they get probably more stuff in like concretely, you know, formed, there's not too much point. I do think the innards probably needs an overhaul, but that's different. All right, we deliver you, and we get some upset cyborgs. I guess the ammo here, we probably don't want to, like, yeah. The downside of surplus ammo is it takes up so much freaking space in your inventory. Thanks, appreciate it. Wait, what? Pardon? Whoa, 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 calm down there. That guy's got like a lot... The lighting in this level is weird. It feels like it doesn't use the same lighting as the previous levels, because you see a lot more on this little tutorial area. Like, for example, you can kind of see over the cyborg's chassis here, like the blue sparks here and there. And you never see that, like, anywhere else. It could be, like, get drowned out by the light, but, like, the lighting in this level is weird, and you can kind of see things that you wouldn't normally see. No. Like, I don't really, like, I know the, like, you see the eyes, what the hell? Hold on, we can talk about this. Alright, I think it's time to leave. Man, the surplus shotgun is real bad now. Cyborgs do get more resilient though, but like, holy shit. Are we good? Can we loot a little bit more? It's probably time to leave. But like, no, like the cyborgs have that literal like little blue lighting over their skin, but it's really only in the in like the tutorial. Hey, Bob. All right. Yes, yes, yes. Alright, we still have to get our traders. Hey, Pixel. Yep, that's exactly it. Just fresh account. So typically I would just recommend JMods. You plan what you want to buy, or like basically that's just don't bother with traders for like maybe your entire playthrough, and at the end do a mass sell and then buy whatever you need. Essentially, you do not want to be an occasional customer. You want to go in there and buy everything that you need at one swoop, and then just don't care about it again until you do. As long as you have stuff to trade them, like, it's pretty easy to get back up to level 3. So you just want to just do it in, like, big chunks. For now, until they fix it or change it or however they want to do it. Essentially, just do not do anything. Yeah, it's really not. You just basically, like, if you want to buy, like, just stock up stuff and then sell it all at one time. There's really just no way of keeping rep good, and, like, there's not really you can try running away from units you don't want to kill for rep reasons, but it gets really complicated real quick. Because sometimes you're forced to kill them, and killing a squad will basically ruin any gains you made. So just don't even try. Let's go over... Let's just not bring anything into... Let's go fast character? Fast character. Quick in and out. Yeah, I'm sure it requires some more tuning still. I like the concept behind it. It's just very aggressive right now. It's like a lot of things this patch. It just feels like we're just waiting for more iteration on it.
Still alive.
Hey, Corvex. I still prefer by Masked Man. Just the best overall for, like, lots of things. It is Matrox. It's still heavily early access, but you can play it as you see fit. Like, there's no pressure to, like, keep going. So if you want to play a session or two and then, like, stop for a month, you're not punished for doing that anymore. Oh, flying tank. Nothing's changed. No, but like it's a decent time to get into it, especially if your only reservation was the water system before. It's still very early access. It's still got that rough gameplay, but like you're not punished anymore. I'm gonna fucking die here from that. You don't see me. Oh yeah, I don't blame you for that either, right? Like it was a very rough system that punished people who played very casually. I know they they didn't really want to get rid of it, but at the same time it just needed to happen, right? It just the two philosophies just didn't mesh. Like having a more casual extraction shooter and having a hardcore mechanic like that just don't work. There's other ways of making a hardcore game, but like that's just not one way of doing it in this regard. It is. It's gonna take some time, Pixel 2. Like the game's still in very rough shape, and people like watching streams can assuredly see that. But it's a stepping stone, right? It does depend too. Like I will say. I'm not really excited about the new map, but it's cool, but like at the same time, I guess it depends on their philosophy, right? Is this supposed to be like a moving art book, or is it supposed to be a game? And like you can have both, but there's concessions for making a game a game. Yeah, the real new map is a nighttime frozen swamp, yeah.
Another day, another dollar.
I don't, like... So, Corvex, on that note, like, when it comes to stuff like that, I feel like it's more on the person themselves to artificially restrict themselves. Like, there's no leaderboard here, there's no challenge here, there's no PvP. There's not really much sense of a hardcore mode when you can just artificially restrict yourself, right? Like, we've done no HUD, we've done no healing, we've done stuff like that and no sounds before, right? That's kind of like a hardcore run almost. And eventually they kind of talked in the last Q&A too about eventually having mod support, right? Like, they actually said mod support. Now, they didn't give us like any idea when that's happening, right? But at least shows their intent that like they probably do eventually want to have mod support. And it makes sense too, right? Like, if their plan is to eventually like move on from this game after they finish developing it, mod support's how it has its longevity, right? Oh no, like, that was one of my critiques too on the new map, is like, can we tone down the red a little bit? Just a little bit? Like, it's really cool, but like, holy shit. Like, I think Ashen Mesa is actually like the proper amount, sort of like that tint, right? It's there, but it's not nearly as overbearing in my opinion as the new map. All right, need to get water again. Probably just Scorched Enclave, right? Until we get a lot more water. I do think too, I know it was a common critique of this new system, is that it's really not fun during the early game to juggle these traders. So say, for example, right, you get up to like 8 or 9 water to unlock Grillo, and then you'd go do a mission that costs 2 water. You're now below Grillo again, and so like during this little like early game, you're step laddering a lot of having traders unlocked, 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 and that just feels a bit weird. Yeah, Frozen Swamp's still my favorite. It feels like the first map that's actually vastly considered gameplay. And like, don't get me wrong, like if their idea is more is better and just having lots of small maps like that, it's fine, but
time to carve him up.
it's a very common critique now for me, where it seems to be recurring, is the maps just, they're visually cool but don't hit home for me always. Hey Delta, it's going well. How are you? Just grinding a fresh account. I am on Scorched Enclave. I contemplated doing Mech Trench. Scorched Enclave, in the prior versions of the game, they kind of pushed you toward doing Scorched Enclave. They opened it up a bit with their quest design to like give you the opportunity to do different maps. I think they make you eventually do Ashen Mesa, but for the most part you can do any map you want. So back before, the quests would kind of force you to play Scorched Enclave, and people got really used to grinding the early quests that way. And I still think too, oh god. I mean, I'm sorry. Goodbye, water. Wait, if I had the quest, that's fine. I'll come back for it later. I think getting guns this early on is actually pretty important. I'm conflicted. Water or gacha? Watch me get like nothing off the gacha container, I swear. Yeah, well, Stairway is a map where you play it once you've essentially, like, just like my critiques of Cemetery, it's a map where if you play Cemetery once, or sorry, you play Stairway once, you've played it every single time. Like, a map like that requires the dynamicness of the spawns to constantly change how the map plays, and I just don't think that's gonna happen. But they'll just shot me. Leave me alone. Yeah, like, that's a big thing too, is, and now it's personal preference, right? But I really like exploration in games, and while this game might not be able to handle that, because they can't make the maps too big, I just do think it's missing from some of the maps. Like, it's not even there.
Zero fucks given.
And I think Swamp excels too because of the negative space. And what I mean by that, right, is it has space just to be space that, like, no, zero fucks given, Metrox. So, like, all of the water on Frozen Swamp does a good job of, like, expanding the play area, but making that play area not relevant. So essentially, it gives you more travel time and more ambiance without kind of creating this empty void where things should be but aren't. That was a pretty decent container. All right, now we need water. And like, yeah, it's like, yeah, Swamp's fine river map too. It's not even close. Yeah. Yeah, Corvax, I agree. Like, exploring into games gets me into it big time. It's like the most immersion thing for me too, because I get, like, when I'm exploring new things, like, it gets me into the game and I get lost in the game. And naturally, a game like this, right, an extraction shooter, that's, you know, you're going to play the maps over and over again, you can only have so much exploration on a map. Like, naturally, you can't always have, like, infinite exploration. That's unrealistic, but it would just be nice to have a little bit more. Especially to change up, like, the way you can approach a map too, right? The different paths. Like, we're going on one path right now through Scorched Enclave. Like, considering how simple this map is, right, it actually has quite a few different paths around the map. I'm choosing this one because I know it's fairly safe. But I could go left path, I could go center path. Center path's pretty risky if I want to go to the bunker. Then there's also the far left path too. So like, when I load onto Scorched Enclave, right, I have to consider like what path do I want to take, and sometimes I just go to like the automatic path, right, where I just go on my basic path right here. But I might go left, might go far left, might go center. Scorched Enclave, cemetery, sorry, stairway. There we go, stairway. Is just go up. Like, there's that initial choice when you're in the lower level of going left, right, or center, but they all lead you back to the same spot, right? And you're now ascending again. Like, those three choices never really branch you off into a certain different area, right? It's just a quick detour to get back onto the main stairway. Who's a good boy? Who got a visual update this patch? You got a visual update. I guess animation update this patch. You got an animation update this patch. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Hold on. Love tap. Right away! Oh, I've seen it do animations, no. Come on, buddy. I don't think he can get into the tube. He's stuck.
Another day.
You can still kind of walk around him. You just gotta make sure you do it from a far distance, because he does have an AoE slam now. He is more dangerous than he was before. Acolyte, I haven't gotten him to do his sync kill. I think he has it, but like, because he has other attacks and other ways of killing you, it's very seldom that you actually see again like that sync kill. It's the same thing with Toothy, right? When you get close enough to Toothy for a sync kill, he generally just goes into his melee animation, right, and just stomps you to death. And the Orgamech is the same way, where he probably has a sync kill, it's very hard to see it because I think he's predisposed to doing one of his attacks instead. No, no, Corvax, bad Corvax. Say no to the thirst trap. All right, now we have the first kill quest. How much water do we have right now? We probably want to farm to Grillo. I think Grillo's pretty soon, right? Is he 11? We can try doing this quest. It's always rough trying to do this quest, though, because you don't have a silencer yet. And that just means you attract a lot of attention now. All right, 545. We'll bring 180. We'll bring all of you. Actually, probably a little bit less. The question is, I usually prefer Mesa. Mech Trenches is expensive now, too. Scorched Enclave can spawn them, but Scorched Enclave is just a death trap, really. The problem I have with Trench, right? Trench is like kind of dangerous. We're gonna try Mesa. I feel like the reason why I'm doing Mesa is because Trench is probably better, but Trench has the issues where there's not a lot of combat going on, and so units will hear you and then come to your location. He sells a silencer, I don't think, for the 545 though, right? Dismissive, if you do not enjoy early access gameplay and very rough gameplay, that is fair. Yes, it's very rough right now. Also, we're loading shaders. Give it a second.
Remember, we keep
Still loading.
kill.
Maybe they added it to him then. See the Corvax. But dismissive, that's very fair. Like I said, it's my reservation. Like, the water system's better now, but like, if you still just do not enjoy early access gameplay, let it cook. Thanks to Joshua. All right. There's one. Wait, did it just explode? Like, where's the corpse? Did I? Hold on, the shaders are still loading. Did the corpse just explode? Wait, is the shaders not loading and maybe the why? It's, where the fuck are the drone corpses? They added more RNG to this quest? What? Also, what? Is that helicopter moonwalking? All right, I've seen enough. I've seen enough. Really? There they goes, by God.
Enough of that sneaking around shit.
Don't think about it. No, the hide needs a lot of love to make it look anything like it's supposed to be, probably. It is got some funky movement. Let me up. I know I can mantle up here, I've done it before. Where the hell did the drone go? Oh, there it is. Perfect. Hey, Stems. Hey, 47. They're much better now. Essentially, you'll have the initial spawn, but they will not respawn up here, so you're very safe. Like, you might have patrol come back over from outside of the shantytown, but for the most part, once you knock out the first squad up here, you're fine. I will say, the drones exploding up here is cool, but at the same time, man. Also, the lighting and the shaders right now are very... Maybe it'll do better on a reload. Am I all high right now? Oh, I'm on ultra right now. Oh, shit. Wait, I'm getting... Wait, I'm on... Game. That's weird. Also, let me knock it down to, like... high. No. I'm gonna leave it on ultra because that's gonna. No wonder I had to load shaders out because it was all high shaders. Thanks, Double I. Appreciate it. No, like before the drones were definitely like. Oh no, so like I'm playing on a different account and apparently this account had settings on ultra. So I was curious why I was loading to the game earlier while I was redoing shaders. That's why. Get some water. So it all makes sense now. And it's like, I was actually surprised too. I didn't really notice we were running on ultra because it was actually running fairly smooth. Maybe the patch actually helped me with that because usually when I go up to ultra in the previous patch, I would have issues with FPS. So maybe that's the improvement I got this patch was that now that I have this update, I can actually run ultra pretty fine. Yeah, Van, there's a bug right now where if you do a certain loot order, I don't know the exact combination, it will do that. Oh, Evan, like, yeah. I think that's like every time I load in, actually, is I have to change it over to private now. Alright, so there's 2 more spots we can probably have European drones at without doing a cycle. That's gonna be bunker and then over here at the bridge. I will say, I think the dust looks a lot better on ultra. Like, actually, like, I was actually surprised when I loaded it in, right? I was like, this looks a lot better. Am I running scaling at all, too? Hold on. I am. Okay, I'm still running scaling. That makes sense. Alright, I need this drone to come over this way. There we go. I need you to die over here so I can loot you, hopefully. Come on, baby, drop down. No! No! Yeah, the dust looks less thick and more particly. Hey, Solrain, how's it going? Alright, other drone spot over here. That's very fair, zombie, very fair. It's much better now. I will say, like, I do have... So, if you watch the drones spawn now, they spawn really high up and then descend. It's much cooler than before, but it also, like... Well, it's cooler than before, but it's also just like... Huh, why are they so up high and descending rapidly and now, like... I want them to be some extra connection instead of, like, why are they descending from the heavens? Drones? You're not a drone. You're into the right drone. Alright, I think Mech Trench it is then. On higher prestiges she can. It's... For the most part, yes, she can outrun cyborgs. There we go, mister. There's that second part. Yeah, she can with high enough prestige. And I think she's the only character who can. I don't think Shaman gets fast enough even have at high prestige to outrun cyborgs. Alright, so that was 1 done at least. 1 out of 3. Wait, they did add all suppressors to Aramaki. Okay. Oh wait, was I confused? Was I getting Grillo and Aramaki confused, perhaps? I might just be misremembering, but no, okay. Maybe I was thinking about Aramaki, actually. Because yeah, he sells all of them actually. Okay. Stems I am. It's a new baseline really. I think the way I put it in my patch video is probably the way I feel about it, in the sense of it feels like the actual, like it feels like before this patch it was the early access to the early access, and now we're now actually like playing the early access build. Like, it finally feels like we probably have the baseline systems for a lot of things. Now, it needs more iteration here and there, but, like, for the most part, I think it's, like, kind of the minimum now, or, like, rather the base now, if you will. It's a good time to get started in the game if you're okay with, like, very janky early access gameplay. Is it as janky as before? No, but it's still, like, definitely, if you get frustrated easily, probably still hold off for now. If you enjoy seeing a game change over time, maybe pick it up now.
Don't leave anything on the cutting room floor.
Alright, we're looking for 2 more European drones that don't die when they get shot. Alright. So they'll spawn here. There's also a few more quarters they'll spawn into. Let me go through this way. Yeah, if you're a much more casual player now, it's very nice to jump in, but it just, yeah, the whole of are you okay with early access gameplay? Like, that's, like, and like, there's early access beta, there's early access alpha. This is probably more like early access late alpha. Like, they have mostly everything figured out. Alright, we made it. But, like, it was gonna require a lot more polishing and finishing the systems. Alright, do we have our drones over here at least, please? Alright, they're gonna murder each other. Do I have my drones? Hey.
I'm gonna have to try harder than that.
They will still occasionally do that, by the way, where they will shoot you. Fuck me. Wait. Cool, I'm in the dark now. I feel like a rat. This is perfect. Peak rat. You do. I mean, naturally, if you play it like an extraction shooter and you put some, like, a lot of time into it, then yeah. Some people, though, pick it up and, like, play a raid or two, mister, and then be like, nah, this is too undercooked for me. You know, I was promised drone here. I wasn't actually promised drones here, but I feel like I should have some drones here. Why are you randomly... Okay, now they're aggroed. Yeah, that bug still exists. So, yeah, just if there's a bug, right, for example, where units will sometimes break their aggro and randomly shoot you. It's a lot better now than it was before, but I've definitely still seen instances of it existing. And when it's like a random, like, infantry shooting you, it's fine, but when it's a random toothy or medium mech shooting you, it's a one-shot kill. So, yeah. It's better than it was, but it still seems to be a persistent bug in the AI. Where for some reason they'll just randomly shoot you. And while I'm here, I still grab some water. I haven't seen a drone yet. I will say, like, Mech Trench is nice for killing drones, but it does require them to spawn first. Drones are actually the most egregious example, John, by far. Drones really have a knack, it seems, to shoot you when they're not visibly aggroed. And they'll actually do like the full burst too, right? They won't like just do a pot shot, they'll go full bore. I think it's time to leave. There could be, but like, the hangar also has a medium mech potentially, or an XO. It almost always has an XO.
Zero fucks given.
I mean, not great loot wise. This is worth 7K though, at least. I thought I looted more. Maybe it was ammo. We have very different experiences then. Whenever I go to the hangar, it's always at least an XO. And sometimes you get a nice little friend called the medium mech who wants to murder you. Or clip through walls, either or both. I mean, we technically do have a silencer now. Yeah, I've tried doing that, Lewis. It doesn't work consistently for me. But, like, I definitely have seen reports of that, right? Where you can just bug out the crates to show you all the stuff inside. I've had it do it occasionally, but not always. It's really inconsistent for me.
Still alive.
All right, so we're looking for your open drone still. I said we're looking for your open drone still. Really? Genuinely, we've got the Scorched Enclave variant with no drones. I've been cheated. Thanks, Kane. I probably won't change it. It's actually a good check for me too, because occasionally I will forget things and then see it and then change it. So the cost of a 10-second wait is fine for fixing mistakes occasionally. Oh, so it's frame rate related, maybe? I don't know. Well, like, I was expecting them to at least spawn in the center, right? Like, there's a center spawn, there's a spawn over here, there's a spawn over at pipes, there's a spawn over here too. Like, and they just chose none of the above. They know I have the quest. They're scolding me. Oh, leave water, that's fine. I think it's just RNG. It happens all the time too. Like, for example, night shifts. The RNG and like the spawns and the maps in this game just seems... It seems like very computer RNG, right? Where you just have these very sporadic times of seeing it a lot, seeing it none, and then sometimes it's intermingled. Oh, man. The only problem, I'm bringing more ammo than I probably should, because I want to kill these drones, but, like, it's actually taking up my loot spots, too. Servitor, I think it's bugged right now, probably. The best way to approach it, really, is just to stockpile a bunch of stuff up, and at, like, the beginning of your playthrough, or the end of your playthrough, just do a mass sell to get right back up to level 3, and then buy everything you want, and then just don't play around it anymore. Like, the rep is so bad right now, if you kill, like, a squad of anything, you're gonna go from 3 to, like, at least 2, probably down to 1. So, just buy everything in bulk. Sell in bulk, buy what you need in bulk, and then just don't play around it. All right, third time's the charm. We're bringing 90 this time. Mesa? Nah, we'll do Scorched Enclave again. We'll give Scorched Enclave one more chance to redeem itself. Oh, the first map we ran was Ashen Mesa. So the first we ran was Ashen Mesa, the second we ran was Mech Trench, the third we ran was Scorched Enclave. Now we're running it twice to see if we can even get drones to spawn again. But no, the de facto is usually Ashen Mesa. Apparently drones can explode now, so that's like what actually probably stopped us from doing it in our first try. Sometimes you don't get a corpse. I will take a gotcha though.
Best day ever.
What did I do to deserve this malice from the game? I mean, it depends. Like, it's kind of weird of how you contextualize most dangerous. Like, naturally it's probably cemetery, just because of the grabber. But like, if you just don't do anything on cemetery, like shooting, cemetery is usually pretty fine. Like, in regards to the maps, it depends on how I play the map and how, like, it really depends on how I want to play the map, right? If I'm trying to play a very aggressive sort of cemetery game, yes, it's the most deadly because of the grabber. If I'm trying to play like a really passive Ashen Mesa game, I don't think Ashen Mesa is deadly at all. If I'm playing like an aggressive Ashen Mesa, it's deadlier. Does this still work? Did they take this away from me? I think they did. Those feeds. I'll have to get a jump to try it later, but I think they fixed it. If you play in a group too, I will say it does make a map like Ashen Mesa a lot deadlier. When you play in a group, especially a large group, you are just going by nature to attract a lot more attention, which will usually, and it also brings out deadlier HKs too, right? Like, you are much more likely, it seems, to get a like not Orgamech, but like a stalker as your HK if you're in a group, which instantly raises the deadliness. All right, over to Ashen Mesa again. We'll keep those. We'll just buy 3 of these, or use 3 of those. Regents, Mesa. Let's go make sure I go over to private. Yeah, like it scales very aggressively once you start having more people. Pyrus, I think it's more in the sense that you have corrupted interpretations of what buildings are for by the robots, by the AI building bots, and so on and so forth. So, for example, if you see a face on a statue or a face on a smokestack, this is probably not the exact logic, right? But like, hey, we're these robots, we're building this building here. This building's for humans, so we need to make sure it's like clearly a human building, right? So they put a human face on it. Or it could be that they've gotten corrupted and they've kind of intermingled their statues with their smokestacks because they're both large vertical elements. There's different ways of viewing it, but it's mainly just from AI corruption, right? It's kind of like how you see an AI art, right? Like, when you have more and more cycles, when AI data gets trained on AI data, which gets trained on AI data, you start getting this more corrupted interpretation of what it was trying to do, right? And that's kind of how I see the buildings and so on and so forth and all these like stuff around, is that like you have these AI constructing 3D printing bots, right? and they have just been corrupted by time. And I will say too, what I'm currently experiencing right now, I think, is some tension. It does set a good. I will say, if their goal is trying to convey that you are not going to get quests done in one run, sure. But the problem is, none of the other quests are like this, right? Where it requires so many damn runs to get it done. And sometimes you will get lucky and get it done in one run, right? But like, as you can see here, right, where we just had it, there's definitely some scenarios where that's not the case. Alright, did the drone die or explode? It's looking like it exploded. It could have popped down here. Nah, it looks like it exploded. Oh, like, I will say, Dismissive, they've gotten a lot better. A lot of the quests that didn't work before work now, but they're still fairly convoluted, or like... There's plenty of quests that work now that didn't work before. But at the same time, like, the process of doing the quests isn't intuitive, or it doesn't mesh well. Like, for example, there is the lockbox now and connecting the dots. It's just not conveyed very well. And like, a lot of it comes down to too, like, we had, like, for example, 6 months where it was broken. Maybe only 4 if it worked last patch, but... I hear someone behind me. Oh, okay, maybe below me. Oh, alright. Where does he spawn for you? He usually will spawn this bunker over here. If you're talking about down here, you can mantle up, Leo. It is a pain in the ass, but you can get up there just for mantling. But like, it is not easy though. Like, if you can give it, you could try. If you didn't know where to exactly get up at, you could certainly try for a while and it not work. Combat Sims, I think, is broken. I tried it in the closed branch. I tried it, I think, in the live branch, and neither, like, it could just be the thing too, right? Like the targeting systems where it's a very small chance. And the one big aspect too about combat sims, on the left-hand side, I didn't see drones over there. There was a open drone we killed earlier, but I'm checking over here for drones. The disabled, wait, hold on. If you have a disabled anti-tank rifle that you pick up in raid, when you bring it back to your innards, it should repair unless they change that system. I haven't checked to see if they changed that system at all, but like before in the prior patches, which I mean it might still work, right? That's a new lockbox there. In the prior patches, you could bring a disabled gun into your innards and it will repair itself when you move it to your inventory. So the destroyed ones, they fix in the first patch, right? But disabled, you still were of last patch able to move them over to your inventory and they would be repaired. It was only the destroyed you couldn't repair anymore. But I once again, I haven't tested this patch though, so if we can find a disabled gun, we'll see if it works. Considering I've seen people farming Vepers off the mission, I'm inclined to believe it still works for disabled. Well, you don't... Wait, what? Oh, you're talking about the ones that, you pick up from the sniper? Yeah, you don't do anything with those except for turn them in. So the one for the quest, yeah, and you can only ever turn in for the quest. Bringing it back in will do nothing. The disabled guns you can put here, though, should repair when you move them to your inventory. Case in point, they were shooting me before. So, like, right there, for example, is an instance, right, where the system's still a bit, because they weren't fully aggroed yet, and they formed a firing squad on me. Oh boy, Mr. Grooves, so nice. And like, that seems to be the reoccurring theme too, is that there's plenty of instances where they will not show visually aggroed, but they still will just go full ham on you. If I had meds, I should probably switch off of Scav Girl too, to be honest. She is just not very good early game in combat. She's so squishy. She has no HP buffer at all. 545. Big boy medkits. You will find that I don't usually say very many controversial things. I leave that type of the world talk to the big streamers who know lots about the world, like Asmongold, because he knows how politics work. Is that shade? Absolutely. Turns out being a degenerate WoW player for 10 years gives you grand ideas on how things work. The funny thing is, it's not that controversial, but at the same time, like if I was remotely even on anyone's radar, which is honestly, it's nice I'm not, that would probably get me some flack. Oh my god, they both are intact. We did it. I mean, there's always this thing too, right, where like a lot of it's just streaming consistently and getting lucky too. Like the fact he's willing to stream all the fucking time helps out. Everyone doesn't feed, like Reed, that's just, yeah, everyone hates you. Have you considered being more likable? No, it's overtuned right now. Someone was saying it's bugged, and like, I have no idea the validity of this, but someone was saying it's bugged, and like, the max rep loss per unit is the max for everyone. So like, for example, killing an HK, like, or killing a mech right now has the same weight of killing a soldier. And if that's the bug, right, it makes a lot of sense. So like, the small units you're killing right now shouldn't really have the effect that they're having, but they're equating each soldier you kill to be a medium mech. Yeah, Acolyte, I actually like Moist Critical a lot, and he's had this whole spiel too, right, where he has to say, like, people just want me to comment on controversial or, like, real-life things. It's like, they come to my channel, they ask me about things like that, and, like, they just keep going. Wait. They didn't... Did it not drop one? Oh no, we're going back. It does have a chance of not dropping one, by the way. Like, that is actually, I think, a possibility. But yeah, sometimes you get into this cycle too, right, where people actually want to, like, it's hard because I'm giving shit to Asmund right now, right, too? But sometimes when you get that big, people will ask you for your opinions on shit like that. I do think this is one of my least favorite quests in the game currently, especially as a gatekeep quest for lots of different things. Yeah, I think we looted it. It's just that it's either looted or despawned. We'll find a new one. Yeah, I just didn't find it. That's fair. Sure, I can free you. Yeah, it's a tedious quest. It's a quest that wants you to explore the maps and figure out what the hell is going on, but like it can. One of them is, yeah, one of them is. We have one of the parts. Like right here, but we're still missing one. And I think conceptually too, like their quest design right now, it's kind of, I really do feel like it's probably a bug with the rep loss, but like considering the amount of quests that have you kill units in this game, or want you to kill units in this game, it feels like the quest design and like what the game's supposed to feel like, in my opinion, are a bit opposed. Like, you're supposed to be a scavenger and a rat, and you're not supposed to be that guy, but a lot of the quests kind of push you in the direction of being that guy. Yeah, especially considering too, John, like not knowing silencers early on, and not like having an intuitive way of getting silencers early on. Like shooting drones without a silencer is horrifying because you draw so much attention. It's kind of partially my critique of silencers versus no silencers too, is the amount of tension, like it is so like night and day, right? Of having a silencer versus not having a silencer. No drones. Oh, hold on, let me just go ahead and... I don't know why. Like, can they not see? I guess it's just a dumb bot, right? But like, you've been spamming my channel for months now, and I've never ever considered buying viewers, so why do you keep hounding me about buying viewers? Oh man, I have 10,000 viewers on Twitch, but no one's in the chat. This isn't sus. Yeah, it kind of just depends, Leo. Like, this is kind of the thing I go back to a lot of the times, is, and it's kind of, I don't want a roadmap from them. I kind of just want to hear conceptually where they want things to go and feel like, right? Like, we get them with, like, we get quotes from them in regards to, like, other publications on, like, where they want things to go and feel. But I've never heard them say in a Q&A, right, how they want water to feel, or how they want weapons to feel, or how they want endgame to feel. I don't need specifics, I just want a philosophy. I don't need a roadmap, I just want the direction you're heading in. And naturally things change too, right, which is why I don't want a roadmap, but like, I would like to know philosophically where they would like things to go. Because, much like the water system, right, they seem to occasionally have these philosophies that I think are not counterintuitive, but like kind of opposed to themselves, right? Like contradictions to some degree. All right, that drone exploded, unfortunately. What do you need, Shadow? There is like a thing going around, Shadow, where if you press E while looting, it sometimes will unveil the whole inventory for you. I can't really replicate it all that well. Like, apparently you need to be low enough frame rate, someone was saying, to actually have it pop in. If that's what you're referring to. If not, go ahead and tell me what you're referring to. Acolyte, I think the system that we have right now, though, is a good foundation to build up from. I think they can replicate that experience in other ways. Yeah, I know people have been saying that, Shadow, but I've only been able to do it like very few times. It's super inconsistent for me. There we go. That's good, Blaze. Wait, there it is. All right, I need to drop you. And we're good. Shadow, I will say, if you, well, yeah, I don't know what it is then. I haven't been able to replicate it. Maybe it's something else I'm doing. But the bug is there. Yeah, that bug will replicate though for sure. Like I get that all the time, right? Where if I hold E too long, it will close the inventory. That's, I feel like, well known. Right click, mister. Hey, Mr. Gramps, how's it going?
Damn, close call. On a day of close calls.
Yeah, if I hold E too long, that happens all the time. Yeah, like I have definitely gotten that bug occasionally where it will show me what's in the crate, but like I just currently don't know the exact thing I need to do to replicate it. I've heard what people have said, but it hasn't worked for me personally. There is a new aggro indicator. The biggest thing is that when they have a red circle and an exclamation point, that's an indicator telling you that they are aware of you, but they're prioritizing something else. That's a very big thing. It's a very useful thing too, but the problem is right now is that we still have that bug, right, where they don't always follow that visual indicator's rule, right? Sometimes they'll shoot you when they have an exclamation point. Sometimes they'll shoot you when they have a question mark. Sometimes they'll shoot you when they're actually supposed to shoot you. Like, for example, our one death so far has been when they weren't technically supposed to be shooting us, but they shot us anyway. Oh, the directional ones, yeah, for pinging. So when you ping now, you'll get a little indicator, like your direction, yeah, which is very useful. I think I imagine it probably works in multiplayer too, but for ping between teammates. Oh no. Any European wreck we might have had, it's gonna go away real quick. Oh, like make use of me. And then time to fly. It is funny how they call them quests too, right? Like, quest just feels like the wrong, like I don't mind it, but at the same time, I feel like the terminology quests just feels weird in a setting like this. Like, tasks, missions. Like, the quest just feels... Shadow, I would... Naturally, our scavs are going to be voiced. I would be surprised if we see full VO. Full VO is expensive and time consuming. It would be an enjoyable surprise, but I would be surprised if we see it. All right. So we're doing Ashen Mesa. We have Staunch Bleeding, Kill Your Opens, and then Time to Fly. That's all pretty straightforward. Let's go talk to Aramaki. Thank you. We could bring these in and drop them too. Yeah, I would rather just have text than subpar VO. Well, Shadow, they can do a lot in post to make voices sound better. But at the same time, too, right, eventually it's going to come down to the caliber of the actor. And naturally, better voice actors cost more. Funnily enough, I won't spoil anything. Let's just say I'm playing around with a few things right now. I would agree with you if you're not referring to music and the noise, like the mechs sound awesome, the sound, like the what's it called? The music's awesome, right? The music and like the sound effects for the mechs are really cool, but like the weapons, the wind sounds cool too, right? But like there's a lot of missing ambiance, like battlefield ambiance, I feel like. There's also like all of the sounds for guns are still very half-baked, and I know they are like going gun to gun, right? And they are fixing them here and there, but like it just goes back to my point, right, where I think less gun is more gun. I think 5 to 6 high quality guns for each faction is better than what we currently have. Like 5 to 6 high quality, well done guns with like a few attachments, like 3, 4, maybe 6 attachments per gun, and that's it. You lessen the workload, you give more time for polish, and you also get to explore the identity of factions more. I think trying to make a Tarkov where you have so many fucking guns is not gonna work out in the long term. Oh yeah, we're Mass Man. It goes to the left now. So weird bow with Mass Man. If you see our dot when we're ADSing, right? You can see it's off center, but when we start shooting, it immediately adjusts the center dot back to the center. So like there's gonna be always a little bit of left switch when you start shooting. So you actually want to probably aim over to the left a bit. Yeah, I think the biggest constraint, it's always just like bandwidth, right? They have to be picky, like because there's so much going on right now, they have to be picky and choosy of like what they actually spend their time on. So, like at least for me, right, I just prefer in a game like this, I think less is more. Thank Cheesecake, appreciate it. Like, I think having too many guns in the game is going to be a detriment because it requires just so much extra work. To make it, like, high quality, that is. And please, if you oppose my opinion, don't feel like I'm not going to, like, chastise you and say, fuck you, you're wrong. I love having an honest conversation, right? So if you actually prefer like having more guns but less polished, like please tell me the reasons why, and it's like if you prefer like quantity over quality. They're really just different philosophies, right? And it doesn't mean one's better than the other. All right, time to free some your opens from life, I guess. Those are probably the wrong your opens to kill. I do think it would be cool to dismissive to have like scav quality guns, like guns that like the scavengers use that are kind of got that very crude aesthetic dismissive. We're gonna probably want to go over to, I think, Mausoleum for the rest of the medkits. I want to kill some Europans too, but we can probably do that on Mausoleum also. Well, Shadow, there's always that kind of lore thing too, right? So the lore is that there's basically these tons of AI factories that are just pumping out guns continually, right? And then shipping them off to the fronts. And so you kind of have like endless, relatively pristine guns. Yeah, we're just gonna go over to, I think, Mausoleum for the rest of the poke with the bigger stick. But like, no, yeah, so like the whole reason why you see a bunch of pristine guns, right, is because you have these AI factories just pumping out guns in endless volumes. The way I see it, though, too, here's good sale, is that, like, you might not have scav armaments that would, like, really be the same. Like, for example, considering the prevalence of scars and AKs and, like, say, for example, if Eurasia, Europa, and Eruska each had their own primary arm. For example, right now we have the P90 for Eurasia, the AK or the RPK for Eruska, and the Scar for Europa. Those are all so common that, like, naturally the scavengers would have those in large quantities because they're everywhere. They're literally just, like, skewered all over the ground. So naturally those will always be readily available to scavs because they can just find them. But when you get to use cases outside of those core weapons, right, those baseline guns, that's where I can think you might have scav weapons, right? Scav weapons being, like, useful for a very specific niche outside of what they can easily get, right? Say, for example, one of the caveats of the Scar, right, is that it can't be silenced. Maybe, for example, a scav weapon is a very, like, a semi-automatic or bolt-action silenced gun that shoots a big bullet, right? So you're like a really powerful gun that's silenced, but, like, only gets one shot before it has to reload. Basically a giant pipe gun. Stuff like that. It's like almost a clear use case outside of the core armaments of the factions that a scavenger might need to create for. Yeah, potato gun. Man, I wouldn't think they would want to shoot potatoes though, right? Potatoes are valuable. Wait. Alright, I did finish it. Yeah, both the integrally suppressed Scar and the Vector do not. Well, I guess the Vector's not. The Vector's a muzzle brake, not an actually suppressor. But no, the Scar's still loud. Yeah, if you have a lot of issues with like FPS drops, it's probably shaders. Just increase your cache size. That's gonna be a bigger and bigger thing as like newer games get made. You're gonna have a lot of games with shaders, and they're gonna compete for space, and so you're gonna have to up the space size. Do I have cigarettes right now? Let me go ahead and prestige you up. I do. That works. Do I have? I still. How much water do I have? So Apollo, there's a give and a take, right? So like if we go over to guns right now, let's go over to say, like so if I go over to say like the AK, right? When you have guns with this many attachments and you have a lot of these guns, it's a lot of work to do all of the animations, the sounds, the gameplay around it, right? It's a lot of balancing. And when you're a small developer, I feel like I would much rather have a small set of guns that are well done as opposed to a bunch of half-baked guns because there was too much. There was too much going on with them. So like, if they knocked it down to like 5 or 6 guns per faction, maybe along with scavengers, and maybe like they can release new guns in the future, right? There's nothing saying they can't do more guns in the future, but I would much rather start with a well-polished base as opposed to just a bunch of half-baked guns. And there's a big thing too, right, where there's a lot of redundancy right now. And redundancy by itself isn't a bad thing. It's just, and because like some people might prefer a different aesthetic to their gun, which kind of defeats redundancy a little bit, but there is a lot of redundancy right now. So much though that I think it's detrimental. Like a lot of the guns get into the strictly better sort of race. Like in regards to rifles, right? You essentially just want to rock an RPK. They've changed it a bit by changing weapon damage and making it much more standardized, but I think it's gonna take a lot right now with the current guns we have to make them feel very different. And no, I do think customization is important because I think that's still a cornerstone of the genre. I think you can have customization, but I am in a game like this that's not trying to be a milsim. I would prefer customization that has a much bigger effect on the gun than just adding a little bit of stability for minus accuracy or vice versa, right? So like before the attachments would like increase stability or decrease stability or increase accuracy and decrease accuracy, I would want attachments that kind of change the function of the gun or change the gun itself, right? Like I don't mind the fact that, for example, the M16 can get the M203, right? I think that's cool. Or, for example, a bayonet, right? I like having that choice. Let's say, for example, the M16, you have a choice for an underbarrel, right? You can have a bayonet, or you could have a grenade launcher, right? There's a clear choice there, and depending on your choice, it changes the functionality of the gun. Hey, Blood, how's it going? And yeah, like Acolyte, stuff like that, right, is having that really cool, like, well thought out attachment that actually has a lot of polish behind it, is why I would prefer less guns, right? Because when you have less guns, they can channel their creativity in doing something that's more interesting than just having 20 different sights. Like, if we go over to Aramaki, right, there's just a lot here, and it also, one of my first thoughts when I started playing the game is like, holy shit, there's a lot of item bloat already. There's a lot of items that feel redundant and just feel like they just add more stuff to the loot pool, and it feels really shitty. Like seeing a European drop like 5 attachments in their loot pile, just like, okay, what do these mean? And the fact that they're labeled too, like A, B, and C, doesn't help out either. Once again, though, early access. We probably need less ammo, actually, to make sure we have plenty of room for... let's bring, like, one more mag. Plenty of room for, what's it called? Our meds that we're picking up here. 2... Do we have our cigarettes right? Need our cigarettes. Regions, Mausoleum, and the free entrance, yeah. Well, the only one we can actually pick. Leo, I've heard a few different things. I've heard, like, make sure you don't have a quest log full of items. I've heard redoing the tutorial might fix him. One thing you can do too, Leo, bring all of your cigarettes with you into, like, scrapyard, drop all of them, pick them back up, and extract. Naturally, you'll need to do the extraction, right? But yeah, bring all of your cigarettes with you into scrapyard, do the extract, and then leave with those cigarettes. Sometimes, for some reason, apparently cigarettes don't get marked as like found in raid, so like they don't work. So try the tutorial and then try dropping all your stuff on scrapyard and make sure your quest log isn't full. Sure, Shadow, go ahead. Yeah, it kind of depends on how they... It's an interesting thought you raised there, because like I have commented before, right? How right now it doesn't really feel like the game has like low, medium, and like high quality loot spots with different risk and rewards. And that's usually a thing with like looter shooters, right? Is you'll have different areas of different like threat qualities that will have different qualities of loot depending on how dangerous they are. And sometimes it's done through difficulty, right? Like having like a high or lower difficulty. But in a game like this, I will say, I think trying to stick to just the extraction shooter mold is a mistake. There's so much more room for possibilities here that I think exploring outside of just that very confined space is very interesting. And what genres they want to mash with, right, is up to them, but I think there's a lot of cool things to explore in that regard. And I think sticking to the mold of extraction shooter is a mistake. It's been done before, and I just think this game can do more than that. Hey, Murkay. Oh yeah, they changed water. It's no longer... It's still like a baseline for future changes, but like... if you had a qualm or issue with water draining before, it's now gone. You can now experience the game. I want to kill Europids, I don't want to kill you guys. Yeah, it's a very wise genre to start with, right? Because it's a genre that works very well. FPS drops, shaders. These were meant for Europids. You aren't deserving of bullets. Anyway. I think it's definitely wise for them to start with this genre, because it's a very easy genre to iterate with for, right? And it's like, it's a genre where you can start out with a very small amount of content and then expand from there, right? Alright, I'm already out of meds. Curse you, small rig. I mean, they're fast enough. I think they're just kind of derpy. Yeah, Zaku. So, right now, water no longer drains anymore. Well, so you essentially, to enter certain locations on maps, you consume water now. It no longer drains outside of that. And you'll have varying costs that change daily. Sometimes it might cost 0 water to go to a map. Sometimes it might cost 2 or 3. It depends on the map you go to and the actual extraction point you go to. Hey, Carrie. Oh yeah, I saw it. Appreciate it. It was very nice of them to answer like 4 of my questions. I did get kind of a giggle or a laugh of them responding to my pneumatic jump comment and being like, it's not a fucking, like, not Miles himself, but he was talking to one of his comrades in the company, like, and the guy said, it's not a fucking platformer, man. And I just found that hilarious, because he's not wrong, it's not a platformer. But that kind of goes into my whole point too, where it's also, I think exploring the space outside of just pure extraction shooters is really interesting. They... Oh, those guys inside, okay. I mean, I honestly think I'm like, with my... I'm almost begging. I am not begging for it, but I feel like if the pneumatic jump gets removed, it might be my fault. Oh, for sure. And like, I think they're... They in the Q&A too, right, they kind of commented how they want to do their own files. They don't like people ripping off the files poorly and having subpar models for that reason. So they do actually want to like release models, and like that kind of opens the whole Trench Crusade kind of, you know, model a bit, right? I don't think they should probably ever do a pure open world. Well, this is my personal bias speaking. Yeah, so water's just the entry fee right now, Zaku, yeah. It's literally just that, an entry fee. That's variable depending on day. And keep in mind, it's just a baseline system to build up from. Like, I'm sure we'll see more in the future, but for right now, there's no longer an IRL timer associated with water. There's still a timer associated with, like, vendor resets and some other things too, but water is no longer attached to it. But like, so Cheesecake, going back to my biases, right? I kind of think it kind of goes back to the whole issue too, right? With like guns and other things, right? When you can do an open world right, it's exceptional and great. But when you cannot do a thorough and open, like proper open world, it's a huge detriment to your game. And it's kind of how I feel about Stalker 2. Yeah, so experienced water too, like, so the plus side about water now too actually is if you're at your cap, you can no longer stockpile water. What will happen with water now is if you have excess water and you bring it back to the base, you will get either experience if you're not level capped, or you'll get money if you're level capped. So if we go over to, so for example, if we were not even, if we were 2 out of 50, but we had 9, if we were at like the max amount of experience we could have, 9,400, it means that if we brought back extra water, it would be converted into money. As long as we're below this threshold right here to next prestige, we will turn it into experience instead. And then Cheesecake, right, on that note, it's a really reoccurring theme sometimes where like open worlds will be a bit too formulaic or empty or not done well. Witcher 3, for example, is an open world, or mostly open world, that's done very well, right? It still has a lot of, even like Witcher 3, right? They did it the right way, but they still definitely had spots where they had filler, right? But like, I would say Witcher 3, in regards to open worlds, is probably on the like the pedestal for the most part. There's fewer games that have done it as well. And then like, Witcher 3 had to have a ton of like bespoke content, right? To make that open world feel good. Thanks, Cheesecake, appreciate it. Have I noticed variants tied to certain entry points? No, I have not. I think that's just coincidental. I think anytime you see a night shift happen, like, for example, Carrie, when I was doing the playtest, I had a very weird instance, right, where I did day shift, night shift, day shift, night shift, day shift, night shift. And after seeing that 3 times in a row, I was like, hey, is this actually like the system now? Like alternate day and night shifts? No, it was just random coincidence. I ran it a few more times and it never did that again. Yeah, there's definitely give and a take, Mushi, for sure. All right, all 3 quests is done. Staunch the Bleeding is a big like precursor quest too. Like, I definitely have had instances where people said like, I don't have this quest, how do you get this quest? And thanks, Maxie, appreciate it. And this is the culprit here. Staunch the Bleeding is a huge quest barrier. They don't really convey that very well, but like, Staunch the Bleeding will stop you from doing a lot of quests, and you'll be kind of weirded out why it's not working. But that you need to finish this quest essentially. I think they would have eyes. Rage, in my personal like recommendation or just like feedback, I kind of do think I did push for like the whole idea of a day and night cycle, and the day and night cycle being tied to the draining of water. And maybe they're building up to that, or maybe they're building up to their own system. We'll just have to see. But I think right now we have a foundation, and they'll build up from there more. I still don't have enough water for frickin' Bundleton. Let's do a stairway though. Why not? 3 is of water off that too. I'm curious if Band of Brothers 2 will be here, because I know Band of Brothers would like break constantly for me before on the other account. Yeah, Leo, I'm on my alt account. So if you have multiple Steam accounts and you have family sharing on, it's actually a really convenient way of doing a fresh account without having to mess with your save file, because they'll be different accounts. And like if you do family sharing, you don't have to rebuy the game. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. 2 quests is probably fine for now. And we'll bring like 1 nice medkit, I guess. Yeah, there's definitely something going on with the eyes. It could be cybernetics. Yeah, we kind of have like the precursor cheesecake for like crafting. We haven't really seen much done with it so far, but like the intent's definitely there. Carrie, I think it's aesthetically really cool. I think it's kind of not great for gameplay. It's basically another cemetery where it's just like too linear and small for its own good. It's not small in that sense, but like you'll kind of get the sense that like once you play it once or twice, you've played it every single time. Like it's a map where like it doesn't have a lot of paths, right? It's just go up or down the staircase. There's a few side areas, as you'll see, but like outside of these first side areas, there's nothing much to it. Yeah. The bomber is cool though. Yeah, like I make this kind of point in my whole like patch video. If their intent is to have a bunch of small maps act as transit maps for like multi-map raids, it would probably feel better. I still think it would probably feel pretty monotonous eventually. It's like, oh, I want to go visit Mausoleum, I have to go through stairway again, but conceptually it's a lot cooler than what it is just right now. But if their plan is for multi-map raids and this is like one of the precursor maps to that, then yeah, it makes sense. It's not a good standalone map. It's aesthetically really cool though. Like, don't get me wrong, the art on the map's cool, the whole ambiance you get is cool. It's just gameplay wise, like this indoor area, the lighting in here is cool. It looks really atmospheric. It's just a really nice vibe in here. Okay, he's not here. He has to have a different spawn then. But yeah. Like, I think the indoor areas here are really cool, and I would love to see them explore them more. And like, me seeing all the skyscrapers you can go into here, it made me sad how like none of them have any content really in them. Swamp is like the best map in regards to the balance between aesthetics and gameplay, in my opinion. I'm a real stan for Frozen Swamp. Like, Mesa was before my favorite map, but like Frozen Swamp quickly replaced it. I still think Mesa's good. I think Mesa suffers for a few reasons, right? But like, before Frozen Swamp, Mesa was like the best example of what I would want. And now it just, Frozen Swamp does it better. Master, I don't think that's the inventional intent for those units. I think they just... It would be too off-putting if they were easily dispatched by standing on a rock and shooting them a lot. And so they decided on the, like, just make them invulnerable for now, because the other option sucks harder in regards to ambiance and the fear of playing the game. Like, if Mother Courage was easily dispatched by just standing on a tall rock or building and then just mortaring her 50 times the grenade launcher, it would feel bad. I imagine this guy has to be in one of the rooms, right, on these upper skyscrapers, if he's not here. Yeah, it is pretty dark. I don't mind dark maps. God fucking damn. All right. I will say, that's like one of the few times I've seen like no combat happening in the center of the map. Like there was nothing, like usually Toothy spawns, Orgamech spawns, like cyborgs or other units will spawn. It's very weird that nothing spawns in that map. All right, we'll run it back. Yeah, I should, like, that's the whole like concept too, I will say, is I've made this point before. Being proactive is almost assuredly better than being reactive in this game. Like, if we killed the squad behind us when we were, like, looking at them, that would have likely not happened, because those are the 3 guys who caused that combat loop to happen. So it would have been better off if we just murdered them right off the rip. When the best defense is a good offense, then the poor rep system. I would be genuinely surprised if we don't see night vision eventually. At least, like... So, right now, on Scrapyard, there's a quest that has you kill European assassins, and it kind of, the quest itself alludes that these assassins are supposed to be cloaked, or invisible, or hard to see, like Predator. But for right now, it's just Grin with shotguns. So it kind of gives the sense that, and considering Gunhead Story 2, right, there's eventually going to be European Spec Ops, and they're going to have some fancy tech. Hey Daddy, how's it going? I am doing well. I think it just bugged Lewis. I think, but like, I can't back this up with any proof, but it sounds like what the person was saying is that like everything's weighted like as if it was a mech essentially. So every soldier you kill has the max weight applied, and it's not supposed to be that way. There's a lack too, but like, yeah, like the maps don't really, like there's this thing too, right? For example, on this map, where if there's not a lot of fighting happening, right, there's not really anywhere to hide. Like you can kind of hide behind sandbags here and there, like sandbags and walls and here and there, but like for the most part, there's gonna be plenty of spots where you're just gonna be in the open. Carrie, apparently it's supposed to spawn in the bunker. So do the quest and try the bunker. Also speed too, right? Like there's this weird kind of factor also where it's almost better to be running around sprinting as opposed to be crouching in cover or just crouching around, right? Like they do have the system right now where like if you're sprinting around you have the radius, but the amount of time you save from their vision, it just makes it so much better.
Perfection.
Yeah, yeah. Like I've always kind of said sprinting is the best stealth, and it still kind of is. Yeah, Robert, if you're fine with early access gameplay and you really like the vibe of the game, you're no longer artificially punished for not playing the game continually. So like, it's a good time to get into it if you want to give it a try. It's still definitely early access, but you're no longer being punished for not playing and taking breaks. Hey Hanzo, how's it going? Hey Bells. Oh, I wanna lead. Alright, they're good. That's a bit conflicting too, right? As I was trying to lean here, but I was looting the container instead. Yeah, it's a cool map. Like, it's kind of lacking in gameplay a bit, but like, it's really cool aesthetically. Like, if we just go over here, like it's got a really cool vibe to it. It feels and looks like hell almost, right? Like, I could almost see this being like in a Doom game almost. Yeah, the whole concept with rigs makes it kind of hard to go prone. Though it would be kind of cool, Mushi, though, right? Because like, imagine if you had like a custom rig where it wasn't as good as like looting, but if you were prone, you could like act as terrain. The whole cardboard box Metal Gear Solid tribute. Honestly, I imagine a bunch of skyscrapers, right? It's hard to say too, because like none of these buildings are furnished. That's kind of the point, right? They just get like built up again, and they're never furnished because they're just empty. So Hanzo, we are using the rig light, which you could always toggle off. We're not currently using the weapon light. The weapon light still requires you to ADS or third-person ADS to actually use it. But we're using the much inferior rig light because we just found one in rig, so why not? No problem. Sure, why not? I still haven't found this guy's second spawn yet. I know where he spawns the first time, but I haven't found him the other time. Like, he spawns down there in that room we went to twice. But I haven't found him yet in his other spawn. And like, yeah, more customization with rigs like that too would be nice, right? Granted, once again, a lot of work. They've mentioned a few times that, you know, working on the rig fully takes them some time. Alright, where the hell is this soldier? Alright, any soldiers in here who wants to give me their dog tags for their brother? No, I've actually, that's the only time where I've done it though. Like, it's I will say, I did bring a tac cam in here a few times. And I've noticed that there's some bags and some spawns that seem to spawn outside of the playable area. So I wonder if that's just a thing here. It seems to be at the wrong height, right? A few of the skyscrapers we were in, right? I have seen dead bodies or bags way below them. So I'm guessing maybe there's just some height issues on some spawns. Like, maybe that's just the issue, right? Is just that it's spawning, like, basically in the ground or in the wrong area from a height. Also, our first instance of seeing missiles in the game. Not functional, but they're kind of a precursor for the future. I know they were talking about, like, a while ago that this is supposed to actually have, like, new units, I think. Or maybe we just kind of thrust that and thought that, but, like, we are kind of getting hints of new units in the future, or at least more weapons in the future. It's Los Angeles. It's the city of Los Angeles. It's Los Angeles. Now, granted, it's the greater Los Angeles area, so it's West Coast USA, but like mentally, that's where you should be thinking about essentially. So Chucky, I've heard that. It's very common. I have not really been able to consistently replicate it. I couldn't kill that guy. He was inside of the frickin' he was inside of the suitcases. He's got suitcase armor. I doubt it, Lewis. I would be surprised. Also, we do have a better magazine yet. There we go. All right, now we're cooking with gas. We now have the big boy drum magazine. All right, I need or like a different optic. There we go. So now we have a drum mag. Chucky, I have tried what people have been saying. I personally, I've had it happen occasionally accidentally. I have not been able to replicate it. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm sure it's a bug, right? Just like, considering they removed loot all also, the ability to tab loot all, I'm sure it's not long for this world. It might persist for a bit though. It depends on if they want to fix it quickly or not. All right, we're gonna give this map one more good old college try. Also, I bought the wrong ammo, didn't I? I brought 7.62. Whoops. I want to get the Grillo, but the quests are not helping me out right now. I mean, quests are definitely the biggest way of getting like actual water now. That's fine. And we're gonna make this a quick run too. Just get the personal device and get out. But as you see, right, we'll go across too. We'll go the left side instead of the right side, but like, essentially it's gonna play the same every single time we play it for the most part.
I hate the surface.
Well, Hanzo, like, I made this point before you joined, right? I would rather see like the weapons get replaced or updated heavily as opposed to add more. I think adding more guns, like, don't get me wrong, I would like to have the guns replaced with custom guns or more interesting guns, but I think just more guns is actually probably bad. Like, I want new things, but I think item bloat is bad. You can either cut and paste your save file in your local app data folder into like a different folder so you can just save it for posterity, or you can do family sharing, or you can buy the game again. All those options work. I personally, this account is a family shared account.
I live for this.
So I have a different Steam account that I'm family sharing to this account with, and because it's the same household, I'm able to just play the game here. And it uses a different save folder. Yeah, but like that room right there, a lot of your Ruskins will usually spawn in that room, but for some reason units have a lot of issues dropping out of that room right now. So like, I imagine that's where a lot of the stimulants you'll find will be, but they're just kind of bugged right now. Oh, for sure. There's a lot of verticality they could have added to this map outside of just the staircase. And maybe they're like, and here's the thing too, right? They could be planning for that to add more to it. The only problem is, though, we've had, like, what, Mech Trench in progress, Frozen Swamp in progress, Cemetery in progress, and until they show me an instance of them actually heavily adding to a map with, like, actual extensions, I can't say it exists yet, right? Like, until I see an example of it, I'm not going to say it's probable of happening. You can try turning save games off, but, like, it should just be in your, like, yeah, try turning off, like, auto cloud. I don't think I had cloud working for this game, but maybe it worked for this game. But yeah, your local folder, app data, Forever Winter, your save folder in there, cut and paste out to somewhere else that's, you know, different. If not, if that still works, I would try, yeah, turning off cloud saving, I guess, and see if that does anything. All right, where is this book?
As perfect a day as any.
Yeah, like, you are able to go to maps that are free entry costs, so you can never technically die because we're running out of water. That's a drill. I can actually go ahead and use that to open up the other thing. Yeah, I do really like the whole vibe of the Elysium guns, Hanzo. Like, kind of having those, like, souped up AKs kind of thematically fit what I would, like, want the guns to feel like in this game. With the chem rail being, like, kind of like a high-tech or very, like, custom weapon that only, like, elites have. Well, okay, sad news. There's a cool thing here and a sad thing here. The cool thing is, I actually really like the amount of loot in this container, as opposed to a lot of the containers on Frozen Swamp. I feel like this is actually a just reward for using a rig light, or sorry, a drill. Downside is, though, we only got one slot in this character right now. I have. I think I've only played it on stream once so far, but we have played it. Can one of my members please put the bonk in chat, please, for the people being thirsty right now for Mother Courage? Yeah, maybe I just need to do it, perhaps. Hold on. Stop being thirsty. Where's my book at? It's usually over here somewhere. There it is, right there. All right, time to leave. Just asking True, could you get bulk me? So there's a third-party program, Daddy, called NVIDIA Profile Inspector. It is going to give you insane granularity when it comes to your ability to change the graphical fidelity of your games. That being said, the NVIDIA Profile Inspector does work by, like, doing very low-level changes to your graphics card, like registering registry keys and so on and so forth. It gives you a lot of control, but it can also very much degrade and, like, go past the amount of quality which the game can accommodate for, right? Essentially, you can change your graphics to be so low where things will not render anymore with NVIDIA Profile Inspector. But it can give you the degree of fidelity that you need if you have to get the game to run on a certain graphics card. especially with lower memory graphics cards. So you could try Profile Inspector. There's going to be a bit of a learning curve, right? But it's going to give you the ability outside of just like what Control Panel can offer you to try and fix your game or try to get better frames from your game with the adverse effect of it looking like trash. But like, it is, I will say, keep in mind, the software I'm recommending too, right? You could try messing around with it, right? I haven't, like, the only thing I personally have done to change my settings personally was the shader cache size, right? So outside of that, I can give you basic troubleshooting tips, but I don't know specifics about this game because I haven't needed to. But like, yeah, changing your any files, changing settings, going to Control Panel, messing around a bit. And then if like push comes to shove, you can try the third-party solution of a Profile Inspector. Keep in mind that Profile Inspector it's a very powerful tool that can change a lot. With a game like this that does not have an anti-cheat, it's fine. Some games will flag that, not maybe as a cheat, maybe they'll just not let you launch the game. But it's a very powerful tool. If you only use it for Foreverwinter though, it's fine. But like, to give you context on what this tool is used for, right? Some people will use it in games to like not render foliage. Do we have RPK yet? We probably need to start selling things. The first thing we really need is water, right? We want to get lots of water. I think what we should probably do then, if that's the case, is just spam Mech Trench for a run or two. Mech Trench is a great way of getting water, especially with if you have the 3 quests to do it with. We could do the quest also on... We'll go Frozen Swamp next. There is the Water Thief quest, I guess, where we can just kill a bunch of water thieves over and over again for 5 water, which is probably not bad. But let's start with this first. And Alex, like, I personally, if I didn't know better right now too, I would probably be trying to level up my vendors, like Aramaki, so I can actually buy better guns. But because I know right now how bad rep is in regards to units dying and you losing lots of rep, I'm not trying right now. But I definitely feel like for a newer character, a newer player, that would be a trap they would fall into, right? Where they try to sell things to keep their rep high and it instantly just go away. My main's personally Masked Man. Oh, Jay, like, I definitely have to like collect my thoughts for the most part, but no, geez, I definitely main Masked Man for sure. But like, in regards to new player experiences, my few friction points are kind of this. My first is that you have the wishy-washiness of early game water and traders, where you kind of have periods where you'll both unlock and you'll lock and unlock traders over and over again, right? From the up and down of water and entry fees. It also comes at, okay, so bear with me here too. The new water system's good, but I will have to say the new water system is infinitely better than the old system. That being said, I have had issues personally with games in the past that do not time locking per se, but they kind of do this thing where, you know, you can do the grind right now, but you're gonna be punished for it, or you're gonna not do as well for it, right? Or you can wait until the time of day, or like the proper day comes up to grind that thing, and then grind that thing endlessly, right? And to elaborate on what I mean, so it makes a bit more sense, in a game like Division 2, or a game that does a lot like a looter shooter, right? Where it has a daily cycle, you know, for example, one day you might not be able to easily farm X item, the next day it might be really easy to farm X item. That's kind of how I feel with this system of water, right? Where, because once again, it's a little bit related to the IRL timer, right? Of 24 hours for refreshes. It can feel a bit different, or rather, you can have areas, right, where you feel like you're being punished for running a certain map. And I don't mind that conceptually. I mind it that it's still associated with an IRL timer, right? If that system was aligned with something in game, where like after X missions or after X raids or after X things, the water costs on a map would change, I would be conceptually a lot more okay with it. There is still that small vestige of having this system where it's attached to an IRL timer. Granted, it's only 24 hours now, and its only effect is changing the cost of certain maps. But I personally would feel like I would prefer if that was not even the case. Cheese for sure, and like they've definitely like over the period of time, like this patch is certainly the case. Cheesecake. Every single patch, they have been buffing the accuracy and the lethality of NPCs. If you compare where we're at right now to where we were at before, every single patch, they have slowly been cranking up the difficulty of characters. Massman over Shaman because I like using every gun in the game. Or most guns in the game. Like, he's... Shaman and Massman are two sides of the same coin. It's really of, do you want to loot a bit more and have more guns, or do you want to be faster? That is the trade-off, right? And so, for example, because I want you to be able to use LMGs and grenade launchers and heavy rifles occasionally, right? Massman it is. And like, I wouldn't mind Scav Girl though, except for the whole like rig shuffling. And they've partially fixed it, right? So if you have a rig on that you unlocked and you prestige up with Scav Girl, you're actually fine. It won't remove the rig from your backpack. However, if you die, you cannot re-equip it. Or if you remove it, you cannot re-equip it. So they have helped out a little bit in that regard. Alright, I'm full. I just need to keep moving. It might be at bug. I feel like it was intentional though, considering there's plenty of instances, right, where if you switch characters read, it will remove it. Yeah, that's definitely the case, right? They've spoken on that they've spoken on that where they want to give them more interesting skill trees and active abilities. That's surely going to come. Okay, that's good to know. The cloud saving fixed it. Chucky, in regards to weapon stats, I do think eventually we're gonna see probably, like, we're already seeing the rework right now a little bit, right? So they've removed the visibility of the accuracy and stability stats, and I don't think they do anything anymore too, right? I think the gun that you run is what the recoil pattern is currently. Yeah, I'm full. So, and the big thing too is they've removed the damage increases from parts. Right now, just the gun does the base damage of the round it fires now. And perhaps that will change in the future, but... And this kind of goes back to my point too, right, is I kind of want to... I would love to understand or know, like, I don't need a roadmap, I don't need to know specifics, I just want to know their philosophy on where they want to take things, right? Because that's kind of how I was able to critique water, right? Is that what they were saying they wanted with water didn't really line up with how the system felt. But because we don't kind of know that intent behind the other things in the game of how they want them to feel, other than you're not that guy, it's hard to get an idea of like where guns should go. Because there's different approaches, right, to all of these guns and how they should feel depending on where the game should go. It's not a question of really of what's right and what's wrong, it's where they want to take it. Because certainly I have my own philosophies on that, but it might not be their philosophy, and that's perfectly fine. But without knowing that, it's hard to like say, you know, critiques of it. Or if it hits the mark or not, right? Like, for example, as you've probably heard today, I've given a lot of shit to the new map. And very aggressively so, right? Like, I am being, like, it is a very conceptually cool map. But I'm not a fan of it. However, if the philosophy was there of this is going to be a like where we want to do transit maps, we want to do maps that are small maps that are like kind of interludes between other maps, then that map starts making a lot more sense to me. Let me up. Yeah, the only, and Shadow, like we saw the change to shotguns, right? But as you see in the patch notes, right, they were only ever able to touch so many guns, which is another point of like why I think less is more, right? Is like clearly it's a time constraint. Like there's only so much bandwidth they have, right? So I would think less is more. You're not supposed to be here. I will say that's actually, I think that's new and cooler, right? I don't think I've ever seen the mech actually stand up there before. It used to be back farther that way, but this is still very cool, right? You have like the mech almost pushing the cart here. That's neat. I think they've actually gotten a lot more, Lewis, toward it feeling that way. Like, for example, the few times we've been caught out right now, we've been eviscerated pretty quickly. So it already feels like they're kind of hitting the mark in that regard. I wouldn't say the gunplay feels perfect, though. Like, there's definitely a line to toe for sure. Like, if you make the game... like, it's very easy to make the game too tedious for the sake of what, you know, you're describing, right? To not be that guy. And I kind of felt like that, like the approach that they're very clearly taking, right, is that's the right approach, is you make the game incredibly lethal and deadly, as in like bullets do a lot of fucking damage and they hurt, and big things do a lot of damage and they hurt. The only problem with that though, right, is then you have to very fine-tune the AI to make sure that the instances of that happening where you quickly become eviscerated feel fair. Like, having the unit's damage be jacked up is fine, and it makes, like, it doesn't make the game more tedious on your end unless the AI feels unfair. And so it seems that their doctrine right now is that they're making the game very deadly, and now it becomes the task is making the AI feel fair and not too overburdening. It's a fine-tuned balance, but they removed a lot of variables so far, right? I feel like. Well, read it. I actually said this too, right? I don't mind the concept of that big of a rep hit. It just raises a few questions, right? Or a few concerns, right? Is A, a lot of the quests push you toward doing that, and B, the AI acts in such a way where you kind of get forced into, you don't have the tools necessary to break contact or break fighting or get away without just murder. And there's other things too, right? But those are the two big ones for me. Is that, like, you don't have the tools to get away from fights and then without killing them, and B, a lot of the quests push you toward that fight in the first place. Cheesecake, I think that's coming eventually. Okay, so the big thing we're looking for here, I guess we can do you. We're looking for the quest for Water Wars. Water Wars gives us 5 days of water. Now, we can get raided if we do this, but I think that's fine. There's like 3 raiders that are easy to kill. Famous last words. How are we on vendors? We have Grillo now, at least. For now. Actually, can I upgrade you a little bit? Yeah, there we go. Slightly bigger container. Any other quests we want to do in this map while we're here? Oh, we can do data waves. Data waves is pretty easy. It's intense for sure. I don't mind it conceptually. It's just that, hey, Finder, it all points you toward killing a lot. All right, so it's my first time playing this map today, so it's gonna have some shader issues while it loads in. You know, I kind of thought in the back of my head this was going to happen. Thanks, Vinny, I appreciate it. You can all enjoy the emojis now, all 4 of them. Though, as I get more memberships, I can do more emojis, though. But yeah, this is the night shift. It is uber spooky. And everything's on fire. It actually, weirdly enough, like, it doesn't play that much different to normal Frozen Swamp, to be honest. There are the Mother Courages here and there you need to be careful about, but like, for the most part, the map is kind of very similar to how it is. So, Reed, it's just a membership to YouTube. Some people go a lot farther with it, like, and do like video only, or videos only for members. I just wanted to do emojis, and like, I wouldn't be charging for it, but YouTube makes you charge for emojis, so like, I did the lowest tier membership plan I possibly could. It's 99 cents. It's the cheapest I could possibly make it. But it's like a Twitch sub, essentially, yeah. Like, I'm not against the idea of making videos for, like, members, but, like, at the same time, I just don't make enough videos for, to warrant that right now. So, just the god tier cheapest option available. Alright, do I actually have a laptop here, jammer here today? It's gonna be inside the crate, isn't it? I think it's inside the crate. Sad days. Oh, thanks, Vinny. Appreciate it. Very kind of. There it is. There we go. Hell, it might, like, outside the special units on this map, it might actually be easier than regular Frozen Swamp. Outside the spook factor. Up we go. Let me up. It is very dark here. It's got that green tint to it too. Yeah, I've noticed that there's different things that can spawn up there. The music. Hold on, I'll just stop for a second. The track on this map fucking rocks too. Yeah, this is the new track with, I think, the patch, right? It's not in the OST. I don't think it, unless they updated the OST, I don't think it's in it. I think this is a new track. It might be in the OST, but I don't think it is. Ooh, I kind of wonder, I didn't consider this before. So, naturally, it's very easy to make the loop that this is ash. Like, naturally you see like those little specks in the sky, right? And it's like, it makes you give you this, like, it could be ash or snow. I wonder, though, considering like the whole thing is you have these 3D printing bots that come by during the night shifts and repair things. Like, imagine if these are like fabricated clouds full of like resin, and what they're actually dropping isn't particulates of ash or particulates of like water. It's actually like this fabricated resin that forms clouds and drops, so the bots can come by and use the resin to build things out of. Because the bots themselves don't seem very big, right? To like actually be able to print the things they print out. So it kind of makes you think they would need to have some material to build with, and maybe they can recycle things on the demand too, right? But it kind of gives this theory that like, oh hey, maybe these are like fabricated clouds of resin. Or maybe the bots can just reuse ash. Nope, interesting. So data waves is probably... It could be the reason, Kitsune, right? In regards to why we're wearing breathers. Some units wear breathers, some don't. So like that could be the whole thing, is like it's not going to kill you immediately. But no, apparently data waves, I think, gives you EODs up here. Can I actually time this to do this? I think I can. We're gonna wait for one more cycle, I think, though. You cannot. I mean, you technically can, but like, when we say technically, it would take you to cheat to kill it. Like, it's not flagged as invulnerable, but it has so many hit points you cannot literally kill it. So it's probably the intent to be able to kill it eventually, but it's so, like, not there yet. They just basically made it virtually unkillable. Okay, we're gonna give it one more cycle before we actually go try to open it. I think we have plenty of time to do this data waves quest. We have to make sure it gets around first. So I should be okay. Wait for it. And now. Gotta be quick. Bye, dog. Well, it sounds unfair, right? But it's basically just like it's alluding to the fact that you're not supposed to kill it, right? Don't mind the effigy. This is not Blair Witch Project. until she shows up. All right, now for the water thieves, which actually do spawn on this map during nighttime. Yeah. Like, yeah, in the trailer, right, you have a medium mech killing, I think, 2 or 3 grabbers. So, yeah, no, it's definitely almost assuredly planned for them to die. Like, the units that currently are unkillable are mostly all, like, bespoke units to the game. Well, they are all bespoke units, but they're all, like, mostly melee. The only units that's not a melee unit is Toothy, and Toothy's very bespoke, right? And so they didn't want you to probably feel like these problems were easily solvable by a grenade launcher, so they made them invulnerable for now. Like, until the Grabber and the Orgamech and Mother Courage can deal with creatures just standing on rocks and then shooting them, they're probably going to remain invulnerable for now. I mean, I'm not going to test the theory out. I'm sure it could follow you down the stairs if it really wanted to. I mean, going out that our grenade launchers currently kill medium mechs, it would be equivalent. But no, that's like certainly fair, right? We would need to find like a weakened Toothy to probably kill. That's a lot of cyborgs. Oh Lord, they coming. Thankfully, they line up real well. I do think, like, I don't think the game should be, like, too difficult. I don't think first shot accuracy should be perfect. And what I mean by that, right, is I don't mind, like, your bullet going where your barrel is pointing to, but I think there should be some sway, probably, right? Maybe there should be some characters who are way more accurate than others. Like, for example, like Gunhead or Masked Man being very accurate with their guns. But I definitely feel like there should be some sway on certain characters. It could be a way of diversifying characters, right? Like, you have some characters who are really good at shooting guns, but, like, they suffer in other ways. I need more water thieves, but, I guess they're all sleeping. I guess we'll just run it back to kill water thieves? Probably. That seems to work perfectly fine. We'll just kill some water thieves on another run. Apparently, I believe people were saying, right, in the Discord, that the way to actually farm the water thieves quest, or water wars for inner invasions, is actually keeping the quest but not finishing it. So us having water wars only partially done is apparently a good way of getting an inner invasion. I mean, probably not. I imagine it all gets converted over to biofuel. Yeah, I think that's coming. I think that's like assuredly coming to Raid, right? They're definitely very underbaked. And he made that point too, right? With Gunhead, right? The only reason they raised Prestige from 25 to 50, because it was a quick way to accommodate all of Gunhead's skills. We're probably going to want a flashlight, I imagine. Let's buy some illumination. Do we want to go ahead and bite the bullet here and try to get an RPK? What can I sell you? might be able to get there, actually. Hold on. I only technically need level 2, too, to actually get to, the RPK. It's going up real slow, though. There we go. Let's buy our 3 RPKs. Is it the same damage, though? Actually, I'm curious. Let's go ahead and see. So we have our RPK. It's 175, so yeah, it's 25 more. It is definitely bloated, Reed, for sure. Like the skill trees do need some love eventually. I'm sure they'll get it eventually too. Also, by the way, for any gun that comes with a muzzle brake, do not remove it. Always make sure you have a muzzle brake on, even as a suppressor, right? Like, suppressor is fine, muzzle brake's on. If you remove it, a lot of the guns will just break. It's real bad. Essentially, what will happen is your bullet will just immediately, when it leaves the barrel, do like a straight 60-degree turn to the right. It's bad. I honestly don't know how like that would pop up ever, but it's interesting. All right, 762. Wait, do you have a flashlight on this? Did I put a flashlight here? Weapons. Okay, no, it's equipped, okay. And we're good. Probably want like 1 more minute at least. Now we'll bring both. Frozen Swamp. We'll do railroad tracks and work our way across. So we have water thieves, schematics, which are over here, and then just leave. Got it. Thanks for the fall getter. And booter. Yeah, but like, you curve the bullets, but not in a way that's actually advantageous to you. It's real bad. I think it was like 2 or 3 streams ago, right? It was with the saw that we saw it. That's exactly what happened as we removed the muzzle brake or didn't have one on there.
I hate the surface.
I will say though, like, it is actually a super convenient place to start, and I conceptually don't mind that. It's for something to spend when you have a lot of water for, right? When you're swimming in water and you just want to have a nice little time spawning an injection well. Thanks, Bitter. Appreciate it. For the sub. There are water thieves here. I think we're just gonna move on though. This area can get kind of with drones occasionally. There'll be plenty of thieves to kill over here. Yeah, thanks, appreciate it. I like, for all the shit Amazon gets, I actually do like the whole idea behind Prime subs. It's kind of a smart kind of, for all the shit Amazon gets, it is actually kind of a smart move, right? It gets, it opens, it gets their foot in the door, right? It is kind of a smart business move.
Check those corners.
Yeah, so like, essentially then, the way I think they did it, right? Yeah, I haven't watched Prime Video in forever, Finder. Like, actually. I can't remember like the last thing I actually bothered to watch on there. Yeah, Reed, I stream on this and Twitch. Sometimes they're like, so Twitch does a lot better, in regards to, to my understanding, Twitch does a lot better for people outside of like, say, Europe or America, especially if they're watching on mobile devices. So it's more accommodating for some people to watch on Twitch as opposed to here. It depends on what they're, you know, watching on. They each have their use case, right? Like, I can get a better quality stream on YouTube with less bit rate, or actually more bit rate too. On Twitch, the quality is less, but when you're watching on a phone, it doesn't really matter all that much either. Yeah, different use cases, really. You can do whatever any support you give is appreciated. One way or the other, or you don't have to, like, just watching is enough too. Anyway, back to murder. But yeah, Van, back to your point, yeah, there's the semi-randomized, they essentially have like a weight to them, or like a degree to them. So for example, you'll only see probably costs between 4 and 7 for the injector site, but it will randomize each day between that cost. Yeah, like, yeah, no, Finder, that's a good point too. It's the chat on Twitch is apparently miles above YouTube. That's a big kind of whole issue with Twitch, apparently, is getting discovered or getting like actual traction on Twitch is insanely hard. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. Thanks, Pace. Appreciate it. I don't feel safe. I'm sorry. Hold on. Cover. Thanks, Pace, though. Appreciate it. Well, I'm over here getting burned. No! Let me up! I'm sorry. Alright, we're good. We're covered now. Nice. Yeah. And like, on your point too, Finder, right, it's almost partially about the chat too. As opposed just to like, you know, talking. And like, that is a curse though too, is when you eventually get so big, you have a lot of issues actually engaging with your audience. They almost have to like throw things your way to actually get you to notice them. And I do generally enjoy talking to you guys, so the fact that it's small here is nice because I can just actually read your questions and talk to you. Yeah. I'm not too worried about that, Blood Panda. I'm not too worried about that. Wait, is there something in the way there? I'm just not hitting you. Well, actually, weirdly enough, though, too, it does hurt Booter, but killing the water thieves, it's actually a plus for everyone. Except scavengers, I guess, but like, technically speaking, if you wanted to grind rep, you can do that through killing just water thieves over and over again. Like, as you see, it's only pluses. Yeah, Finder, there's definitely a sweet spot, right? Alright, time to leave. We're almost out of ammo, too. I definitely... In regards to, like, the actual balancing, I am kind of liking the feel this patch of the damage we receive and give. I'm still not, I would say, the biggest fan of stagger, but with the current damage we're receiving, I actually like it a lot more than last patch. Like, so right now, every single combat, if we're caught in a bad way, it feels insanely dangerous, and stagger can help us get out of that. So like, despite things being rough right now, I do think they've definitely hit a good sweet spot in regards to lethality, and our lethality, at least when it comes to infantry fights. Like, it feels like our bullets actually do things, but they aren't like one-shot kills for the most part, and their bullets do things, but they're not one-shot kills. It seems fair, right? Like we're on an equal playing field essentially. I think what I'm trying to say is I think they can stop buffing the damage and accuracy of the infantry squads. And there's definitely some other things they can do too for like ambiance, like suppression. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But no, yeah, like when enemies are trying to shoot you right now, it feels like they are actual soldiers that are not inept. Vinny, we tried out the Viclop, the VKS, like the first or second day. It's still like it will one shot to the head, but it's still got a lot of issues going on. Oh, which trail mission though? There's still plenty of missions that give stupid experience, like for example, actually weirdly enough, Paste, one of the best ways to farm experience now is to get your water up to max and then just farm water container quests, right? Oh yeah, Paste, you can, I don't know if you still get credit for the kills. I imagine you still do. You still get hit markers, right? So I imagine it's still you doing the damage. So that's one way of doing it. However, when you have full water now, if your character isn't max experience, every single water barrel you bring back or get from a quest when you have experience to gain will give you 1.25k. So like actually weirdly enough, having max water and doing quests that give you lots of water is an amazing way of grinding experience now. Van, it seems to be that they haven't been touched yet. Like the scar, it's been told to me multiple times now that the vector, that's not a suppressor, it's actually like a muzzle brake, so that's fine. The Scar's suppressed barrel still does not function as such. No, I do like that whole gimmick, right, where like it turns excess water into something useful. I might not love the actual implementation of it, like I'd probably prefer other things, but I do really like the fact that it has a use now. Where are my schematics at? Yeah, it's a really nice change. Like I might not like love the actual like reward you get for it, but the fact that it has a reward now is super nice. It gives people a reason to pick up water now when they have max water. Where like before that really wasn't the case, right? Like for example, you get a lot of experience, or you get when you're max water and you bring water out, it is by far the best item for large slots now because it gives you 25k credits if you're max out experience. So I really like that change. I might have preferred something a little bit different, but like, it's still a great boon. Yeah, it is like when you are max experience, it is an insane amount of money. It makes you want to pick up water. Still looking for the very last schematic. Sometimes it's down here. We probably miss it up top too. It happens all the time. Yeah, it's probably still up top. Oh, there's one right here. They flush so well with the ground, right? It like look like debris until you start like really scrutinizing it. Yeah, and there's always like the pull off to your right. So say for example, if you go into a map that consumes any water, the water you pick up from that map will go back to filling up that water you used. And so if you definitively want money, lockboxes are still kind of the better way. Yeah, it's definitely, I will say it's better now though, paced. With the whole new looting UI, which is like just a straight, basically, you know, upgrade. I don't really have any critiques about it because it's just like strictly better. It's much nicer to pick them up because like, you had the issue a lot before with like say Gunhead of picking them up. It's very easy now with the box. I would have to go back to my old, like, Darkstar. The post I made back in December regards water is still kind of how I feel where I would want water to go eventually. And so in that system, I think, like, it's very rare, I think in that system you had excess water. But I think yeah, the way I had it right actually was that if you had excess water, it would be one of the ways you could do vendor resets early. So for those unaware, my system was basically saying you had a day and night cycle, right? Where one day shift and one night shift make up a day. And you can do both. You can do one, you could do neither. You could skip days if you want to. And whenever a day ends, your innards consume water based on certain factors, right? Say, for example, if you have all the traders unlocked, it would cost more water than if you had less. If you had certain upgrades, it would cost more. It basically, if you were progressed more and more in the game, it costs you more water to upkeep your innards, right? And a few of the systems I highlighted, so if you were doing really well and you had excess water, what you could do is help you expedite your resets on traders. So say for example, during this day and night cycle, right? Traders wouldn't, because it would not be associated with an IRL clock anymore. Traders would only reset after X days in game, right? So say for example, 5 days in game, would, like, you know, Grillo might reset. And one way you could do that, right, is if you wanted to give him excess water, he might be able to expedite that reset, right? Well, remember, it's so the water draining isn't necessarily, it's not associated in the system I'm talking about, right, with an IRL clock, right? It's only from when you play in game, right? So say for example, if we played a Frozen Swamp day shift and a night shift, right? That a day and a night shift can combine into a day, right? And after you finish a day's worth of raids, a day passes in game, and that consumes a set amount of water depending on circumstances. It is essentially a resource that gets used. But no, like, I am firmly against any like IRL timer stuff. Yeah, I like the feeling of having to survive. I don't think there should be any pressures in the game itself outside of playing it that force it down the way. So like, I don't really like the idea of IRL timers, and I don't like the idea of timers in general. Like, I want everything to be static so people can play at their own pace. Like, I don't want to reward players who play faster than, like, I want, considering this game is supposed to be artistic, right? It's supposed to like kind of show you ambiance and have you take it in. And some people want to play slower than faster. I don't think the game should be set up in such a way where slower players are arbitrarily punished by any system, right? And so like, if you just have a day and night cycle and the raids themselves have no timers associated, right? The person who spends an hour in raid might only come out with the amount of stuff the person only spent 10 minutes in raid, right? But they're not rewarded outside of that, right? Yeah, so that's a different story, I find it, right? Where it's part of their business to incentivize you to try and wait, oh, hold on, I gotta finish this, that's why. I mean, yeah, you nailed it, right? They want to retain your monthly sub, right? So they have to do stuff like that. And like, sure, it has a place in a game like that, but like, that's the refreshing thing about this game, right? It shouldn't have that. There we go, Bundleton. Hey, baby. Let's see if we can't make some money. And by money, I mean buy better rigs. Sell everything. I don't think we're gonna get there. We haven't really been farming money at all, I will say, actually. Like, we haven't been really trying to farm money. It might be time. I usually go for the pack mule as quickly as can. I usually will stop at the equipment runner. But... hold on, we have stuff from our lovely little gotcha containers. Sell it all. Oh my god, we're so close, 281. No, we haven't been picking up a lot though, too. Like, maybe, but some of these things just aren't worth a lot anyway. Oh, we can sell some ammo too. We're so close. Come on, you can do it. There we go. And then this will make us a lot of money to actually get up to the point where we can buy the end game item, the pack mule. The other option is too, so like, I personally prefer the extra large slot, but there is also doing, where are you at? This one instead. So for this one, you give up a you kind of upgrade the top to a medium, but you lose a side slot here, and you lose a large slot for guns. If you're finding good guns like the AA-12 and grenade launcher, this is probably more worthwhile. If you rather just have quicker runs picking up like lockboxes, this is probably better. And I can't definitely upgrade you guys yet, so this is fine. I don't think they've done like any economic balancing Darkstar, but maybe. I haven't really noticed if they have. I will say the rep changes were, technically speaking, an economy nerf if you don't sell to the scavengers, because they do not buy things at full price when you have worse rep, right? Until you get back up to higher rep, they'll buy at a discounted price. So that's something to consider. We haven't run Underground Cemetery yet, but why? Probably do a mausoleum. And now naturally, I have my preferences here and there though, but like, at least mentally to me, that is a problem with like the more smaller maps approach, right? Like, certainly there is the visiting for the ambiance sort of sense. Like going to a map just to explore and have the ambiance. But like, you have to balance all the maps in certain ways. Like, what I'm basically saying, right? If you have a lot of maps, making all of those maps worth visiting can be hard. Like, the only things I'm thinking of right now is if you want water, if you want water, money, or I guess certain quest drops. So I guess like the main way of doing it is through quest drops. But yeah, it's probably just progression, I guess. They just need to hide more stuff behind certain maps, certain weapons, certain other things. Yeah, Finder, maybe. That'd be like the nice thing about knowing if that was their plan eventually. if they wanted to. I think they've said they like the idea. Why am I cursed?
I hate the surface.
What did I do to deserve this? Ooh, a light. I can see now. I don't want to see anymore.
Action.
Oh, the map is really cool ambiance-wise, for sure. I'm always like so curious what these are. It's like almost like 3D printed tendrils, or like I guess like tech plants. God, the amount of smoke and dust. You literally can't see you killing the cyborg. Just a puff of smoke, and you hear the death sound. You see, I've adjusted. I'm actually aiming to the right now because I know it's gonna head to the left. It is very satisfying to one-shot these guys, though. Even if I can't see it. I think that's kind of planned, right? Yeah, like, the maps are supposed to have a lot of variance, right? Where, like, a lot of stuff will change about the maps depending on who's winning the war and here and there. Ooh, cows. But that's definitely something they talked about a lot. Is kind of having, like, the maps change a lot depending on situations, circumstances, essentially. Situations and circumstances. Who's winning the war, who won the fight there, so on and so forth. Yeah, Rage, for sure. I would love to see just, like... I want to see, like, the European Spec Ops, for sure. The European night shift units. No, you can't. They're still invulnerable. They're just there for show and to taunt me. Taunts me with their denial of physics. I wonder if they'll clip. Oh, we got a cow and a bomber intersection. Wait, hold on. That bomber just flew. The cows aren't real. That's why they can't die. It's just it's a particle effect in the air. It's light reflecting. It's a rainbow in the shape of a cow. They're not real. Yeah, that's a good point, Van. I mean, I think they're trying to lean toward that. There's definitely this push and pull, right, of like... They want to have... They don't want maps to feel empty, but they also need to have it be performative. It probably just comes down to like the maps just need like more passes, right? It could be too that they're just like designing systems also to not have to deal with that. Yep, that's just a white screen. I apologize for the flashbang, everyone. You got flashbanged, I got flashbanged, we all got flashbanged. So the way I see it, Van, right now is they're probably, I would think, working on like a meta system that will just apply to a lot of maps in a very easy way. And until they actually finish that system, it's just gonna be half-baked spawn land until then. Wait, do I even have cigarettes? I don't think cyborgs drop cigarettes, actually. Guess we're gonna find out. I will say, I'm actually really happy they've, like, definitely something they didn't, like, say in the patch. They fixed the stacking when you drop items now, so it actually all drops on the floor. It's a really small thing, but I do appreciate that, right? It was very weird having a tower of floating items. See, here's the thing though too, right? I want more indoor, like look how just, it's so simple but looks so damn cool. Like these underground areas, right? Like there's not a lot here, but just like the ambiance of this is so damn cool, and it's simple too, I feel like, right? Just give me like lots of this underground. Imagine like a giant cistern. Like from a it'd be such a simple map from a gameplay perspective, but like a giant cistern underwater, or not underwater, like underground would be so cool to go through. It's because it's underground, but it's a large space, right? It's a large space underground. Exactly, yeah. Like Metro does a good job of like having these, everything's underground, but they make these vast areas underground, right? With a lot of scale. They're still constrained, right? They still have a roof or a ceiling, but like, they give a sense of lots of scale. Uh-oh. Who's a good boy? Who wants to murder me? Okay, thank God. For a second there, I thought I was heading up the stairs. Sort of, kinda, yeah, but like even that area, I would say feels claustrophobic, right? Like it does a better job, but it still feels very closed off. Rig light? Yeah, rig light. So I need to free civvies and find some cigarettes for my friend. Goodbye. Angie dog. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it. Not sure if we're gonna be able to find... No bueno. No bueno. We walked to the room. Safe area. It can't get up here. We are safe. This area up here you can only jump to, so like no units can path up here. Now the downside is though, is the dog will sometimes be very buggy when it cannot path to areas that you're at. So we'll just have to hope it doesn't murder us.
Hopefully it forgets us.
Good call.
And we can escape.
I don't think it forgot us. It wants the mast man. It would be cool, right, Crappy, to have stuff like that, like dynamic events, or like you might want to go loot something, but it's high risk, high reward. Like, apparently cow meat. But no, like, yeah. Like, that's one way of adding a lot of replayability to maps is dynamic events like that, right?
Eating something else.
I think he chilled out. Am I stuck? Am I stuck? Blood, I think you were telling me the truth, but for a different reason. Am I stuck? Gabe, no. You're so good about this usually. Wait, hold on. How? Let me try. There we go. Melee? Okay, melee worked. We got out. We're good. So when you're stuck, try meleeing. Understood. The melee saved us. Alright. Probably blood. I don't like, they definitely have talked about events like that. Or like kind of alluded to it. I'm sure it's just still in the tank. I mean, at the same time, Valinsky, I do think once we see the ability for dogs to climb, that they might actually open up the opportunity to actually kill the dog. Or disable it at least, right? Like incapacitate it. Right now, because the dog can't climb, you can't kill the dog, but I think once you can kill the dog, or once the dog can climb, killing the dog should be definitely on the table. Or at least doing something to actually, like, alleviate the issue of, you know, the dog being unstoppable. Also, there's no civilians down here. Sad. Plenty of loot, though.
Good luck.
I'd probably go ahead and drop you now. I will say, they can almost, like... The dog jumping might be able to do it, but, like, there might be ways around it, too. But definitely, Blood Panda, that seems to be, like, a reoccurring theme, though, too, is that a lot of... It's probably for good reason, also. A lot of developers don't usually want to deal with giving melee units the ability to climb. It seems to be just a bit too much work, which is fair. But, you know, because that's the case, the memes around standing on a rock to kill a melee unit will survive forever now. They also, I will say, like, from my grabber video too, right, it does seem like, keep in mind, the grabber does actually have some small human, or small robotic hands, right? So it's not unthinkable that the dog might get throwables or, like, a pistol eventually. So, like, it could just be that we just don't have a ranged attack for it yet. It might get grenades or satchel charges or just, like, other things to throw at you in the future. And I know, too, I think, right, in regards to, like, I think the medium mech HK, they were also talking about, like, certain HKs or units kind of being assistance units, almost. So, for example, say you are a unit in a skyscraper above a medium mech, and you're, like, hounding the medium mech, there might be a bespoke unit to help alleviate that issue, like drones, for example, right? And that can be the case, too, right? We have instances of, say,
Trying to carefully extract the good stuff.
we have instances of, like, the mites for Toothy, right? We might see more, like, small bespoke units, like helper units like that, to kind of be associated with special units to help them out in that regard, right? I wonder if they fixed the medium mech spawning in this map. Me not seeing them right now actually gives me the idea that they actually removed them. So in the last patch, you would occasionally get the European medium mech on this map in the trench lines. I think they fixed that. So I don't think it was intentional. Oh no, they didn't remove them? Okay, just didn't.
Bastards at home appreciate this.
They are permanent? No, you're good. I definitely feel like they shouldn't be on night shift, but... Just random chance, yeah. Well, just like a lot of other units too, right? It just... Units that were added to the loot or the spawn pool after the map came out seem to persist on night shifts. So for example, they added an extra exo spawn at the bunker extract on Ashen Mesa, and those units will spawn during night shifts also. We didn't finish any of our quests. We got some good money though, I will say. 3 lockboxes is good money. We're rich. All right, let's run it back. Buy some more ammo too from Aramaki, 762. Let's make sure I bring cigarettes this time. Actually, let's go over to Bundleton 2 and buy some bigger brig parts. I think we're all medium, right? Or we're two mediums and a small, right? Rigs, yeah, medium, 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 small, top. So top left is going to be a medium. Top right, medium. Top is a small. And then center is a medium. And for those unaware, this basically doubles your capacity for each container, so it is very worthwhile. The downside being is if you die, you will lose the upgrades. So you'll have to rebuy them, so you don't really want to die with them, but it's still just, it doubles the capacity for loot, so it's very worthwhile. Alright, we're good across the board. Regions, also cigarettes. Give cigarettes, please. I don't have cigarettes. Well, shit. I'll have to find it. Nice plus. I do agree, Rage. I do like seeing just like those units at night too. Just add some contrast. It is like really cool too, seeing the lights from tracers like light the sky too. No, that's always been the case, right? That's always been the case. Like it won't usually tell you when you have excess parts, or excess like container parts, and sometimes they'll bug out too. But for the most part, like when you buy container parts off of the vendor, if you die in raid and don't recover your rig, you will not get those parts back. Now, you can go back into the raid and recover those container parts from your corpse, right? But if you never do, you lose those parts. You can, oh yeah, that was always the intent that you can lose them. It was just really buggy before. I noticed that was like kind of the thing too, where you couldn't lose them. You can pick them up from your like your graveyard if you go back to your body, but no, like yeah, if you die and you don't pick up your body, they're gone. All right, I probably need to kill some Europans here for cigarettes. Or rather, find them as they die. All right, we're good. So we need to find some cigarettes. There we go. That was easy enough. Well, so Truman right now, right? There is kind of a thing right now. Wait, there's a gotcha there? What the hell? The reputation loss for killing units is really, really bad right now. So, like, killing a squad of cyborgs will basically almost put you at the very, very bottom of rep. Same thing with your Uskins or your Opens, right? As essentially any violence will quickly have you tank your rep. It's probably a bit overtuned or bugged right now, but it is what it is for right now. So yeah, just like when you want to buy something from my little vendor, do it all at once. Yeah, it's going around. All right. Let's see what we have over here before we do ammo. Lockbox, lockbox. It definitely seems, well, at least I actually don't think I've triggered HKs yet today. That's a good observation. I think I was triggering them on my main account when I was playing, like, earlier, but on this fresh account, I don't think I've done enough egregious shit to actually trigger HKs yet. At least not that I've noticed. There's a grabber over there. You guys have fun over there. I'm gonna go over here. Another... What the hell is going on here? Another... No, don't you fucking do it. I have 2 gotcha containers. You can't do this to me. Alright, we're gonna go over here, do our extract, and then leave. I was gonna loot more, but 2 gotchas is probably worth us just leaving. Alright, you know, wait for them to leave. Yeah. I do kind of wish SIGs were actually somewhat useful. The health drain and the not ability to heal is just so brutal. Okay, that could have been worse. Be free! Yeah, some like extra progression perhaps. Josh, I do tend to agree with you. I would like some more nuance to the whole rep loss. It does feel a bit weird how just like they know exactly how their units died always. That was a pretty good run. That was quick and 2 gotcha containers. I don't think I've seen very often 2 gotchas spawn the same map. Like, there might have been a time on Scorched Enclave, but it seems very rare. It's a decent haul. I wouldn't say it's crazy, but it's definitely decent. Plenty of guns to actually sell. All right, we're good there. Wait, really? I guess not. I'll be higher than that. All right. We're probably not doing too bad on money right now either, actually, after all that. We just go crazy and sell everything again. I don't think we're at the gacha yet, though. Sorry, not the gacha, but the pack mule yet, but we're definitely a good solid dent in it, at least. Especially with the guns, if we start selling the guns. Yeah, not too shabby. All right, I think it's a requirement now. We're a new player, right? We're like, hey, you know, let's see what the maps look like, right? I see this underground cemetery map. What is that map like? And technically speaking, I'm not going to allow myself to use the jump skip, since I don't feel like the newer player would know that. They might know it eventually, but they're not gonna know it now. Hello, cemetery. You know, jumping around, the normal route I usually take, right? With a pneumatic jump. So you go to the right staircase and then you jump on the railing, then jump over. Yeah, you can jump over the, so you essentially can skip opening either of the doors. And so you can basically time your movements around the dog without having to worry. What is with night shifts today? Without having to worry about opening a door and attaching the dog's attention. So I do it usually all the time when I play Cemetery. You can jump right there to up to there and then walk around. But like the caveat with opening this door, right, is when you open this door, there's always you usually draw the dog's attention. Thankfully, the cultists might help us out here, actually. Is it over there, though? Okay, I don't think the book is over there, so I think we're okay. Well, I'm sure they will. Like, first we had, like, there's the cultist companion, now we have actual cultists around, so I'm sure we'll see them more. They're on quite a few maps now, too, actually. Yeah, of course she broke. Just hearing the dog murder cultists back in the background. Cultists are not friendly, no. Even if you bring their cultist friend, who I guess is an ex-cultist, they are not friendly. No, they needed to give us a chew toy, so we can just throw it off and distract the dog. Right, there it is. I've said this before in the Discord. I kind of... naturally, this is, like, probably my least favorite map, so I'm a little bit biased. Also, hold on here, kid. Why can't I pick you up? Gabe? Gabe? Am I being punished? You're right, it could be a different cult too. There might be multiple cults in the town. I feel like you should probably distinguish the cult then. I guess this is bugged. I did notice too the comms mission's bugged again also. Yeah, I think this is just cursed. Well, we completed it in our minds at least. I tried. No, but like, I'm naturally... Two things. One, I'm not that big of a fan of this map for a lot of reasons. But two, the innards, as we currently have it, are really just way too small to really have what feels like a good defense or like repelling mission. So like your innards can get invaded, but like they're not big enough or expansive enough to actually feel like there's a lot of gameplay there right now, right? And they could be working on expansion too, right? But what I'm basically saying here is, wouldn't this map just be a lot cooler if this was the innards? It kind of gives off the vibe, right? Of being like an abandoned innards, right? And it has all of these different avenues where you can actually get attacked from. It has like the upper section over there where we spawned at. It has the the sewer tunnels here. And they could actually add more to it, right? But like as like a layout and a template, and all of the doors here too, it gives a really cool illusion or like an area of like, I can see us defending this, right? We have this cool center atrium room, which is like a gathering hall. And then we have all these little side rooms.
As perfect a day as any.
It's got all this machinery too, right? That just feels like it would like, it's got all of this relatively empty space potentially that I feel like a bunch of upgrades could go into, right? Like, if this was supposed to have every like a city builder light, a map like this is expansive enough where it feels like it has so much room for activities. So I don't think it's 100% bugged, bless. I think it has certain spawns that do not spawn properly. I have done it a few times now, but only based off one of its spawns. And from looking at the tac cam on that map, it seems that there's a few spawns in that map that are bugged height-wise. And they're actually spawning below or above where they're supposed to be spawning, so you can't actually do them. So it's bugged, but it's not always bugged. But I've been able to do it like a few times here and there. Yeah, it kind of depends on where they want to go with the Nomad. Goose Chase, I only know the lower right helipad, I think. I haven't been able to find it outside of that. But I haven't really tried either. I've only run that quest like a few times. So I haven't really gone that crazy with it. Yeah, I will say, like, I do enjoy Scrapyard for like the combat, right? It's like a almost like feels like a raid, right? You get in, you go guns blazing, and you get out. But yeah, they all conceptually feel the same once you play them once or twice. Like, there is not a lot of variance to them at all. No, don't you fucking make me do it. You just had to look into the darkness, didn't you? Anyway. It doesn't know. It does not know Mad. Yeah, like Valinsky, I kind of like raised that in my patch video in the sense of, It could just be that they're eventually meant as transit maps or transit zones, and until we actually have that functionality, they're just gonna feel like a bit purposeless.
Perfection.
I will say though, it is actually kind of nice. Ooh, gotcha. Usually back in the day, the dog would actually respond to suppressor fire, and it hasn't seemed like it has yet. That or they actually fixed it so it gets trapped now and doesn't teleport out, because that was definitely a thing before too. Would I rather have water or a lockbox? Probably water, I guess, to get my water back up.
Sneak past. We might be able to avoid them entirely.
Shh, Mass Man, shut up, man. They can hear you. Or maybe they can. I guess they're deaf. Yeah, it definitely would change, I guess, if it was closer to high water but not maxed out. But no, yeah. There's definitely a reason now to consider picking up water. It should, Wildsard. Can someone else with a 2060, I think, comment? I think it's going to depend a lot more on your CPU, I think, but you shouldn't, with DLSS or frames, like resolution scaling, you should be fine, I think. You could try out the demo, but keep in mind the demo is actually going to run worse than the current patch by like a good margin. So if you get like 30, 40 frames on the demo, you should get way better than that on this current patch. Granted, CPU does play a factor for sure. Unlike some games, this game does actually require a fairly decent CPU. I, weirdly enough, would probably only say the only S tier map is Frozen Swamp. Like, Frozen Swamp's definitely S. Mesa's an A. I would probably put Scorched and Elephant at B. I would probably put Mech Trench and Scrapyard on C. I'd probably put Stairway at like D and then Cemetery on F. And like, this is from this is not an aesthetic perspective, this is a gameplay perspective. Like, naturally, aesthetic-wise, they all are like really great maps aesthetic. Okay, here's the problem with Mech Trench. Mech Trench is a map that literally, once you think about it, is one room. Technically 1.5 if you consider like the loot room, but it is a map that essentially has one room. Like, you have the hangar over here, which doesn't have really that much to it, but like the entirety of the map focuses around this one room here, and that's it. And so it, despite it not exactly having the same gameplay, it is a very much A to B map. It is insanely linear and repetitive. I still enjoy it because it's well done in that regard, which is why it's not the same level of Stairway or Gate or a Cemetery, but it still has that issue, right? Where like once you play Mech Trench once, you kind of played Mech Trench every time. Weirdly enough, Duffs, Mausoleum, Mech Trench, and Scrapyard were all once one map, but for performance reasons, they had to break them apart. So like conceptually, I think Frozen Swamp is probably on the size that we will ever like, probably closer to the max size we'll ever see from now on. And I don't think every map has to be a Frozen Swamp, but I think a lot of maps have to give consideration to gameplay as opposed to just aesthetics. And that's kind of just what Stairway Gate feels like. It feels like a very cool aesthetic map, but not a lot of considerations was taken into account for gameplay. Yes, Mausoleum, Mech Trench, and Nexus were all one interconnected map. Performance was awful, so they had to break them apart. They couldn't find a way of making that map of that size work. And so, and until we see otherwise, Frozen Swamp is kind of the map size that we're looking at until they show us bigger than that, right? And once again, I don't think every map has to be Frozen Swamp, but I do think that like consideration has to be given to the gameplay of maps, not just the aesthetics. And it feels like Stairway is a lot of aesthetics and not a lot of gameplay. But once again, if it's transit, different story. Like if the whole premise was like you go from like say the innards to Stairway Gate to downtown, and downtown's actually the big map, then sure. But yeah. Okay. That's it for today, everyone. I think I'm losing my voice for other reasons, but thanks for watching. I'll see you guys again on Wednesday. There might deep dive probably later this week, Saturday, Sunday, maybe Friday, probably not Friday. There might be a newer video earlier than that. It depends if my voice holds up and if I can do it the way I want to. If I can't, it might just be on hold for a while until I can. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys on Wednesday, maybe a newer video sooner. Deep dive definitely later this weekend. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and I'll see you Wednesday. Bye all.